It ended at 3:55 this morning. That is later than any Major League Baseball game in history. It was 6 hours, 10 minutes of playing time. And with the extensive rain delays, it turned out to be 8 hours and 15 minutes. An extraordinary game. A game won by the Mets over the Braves, 16-13 in 19 innings. A game that saw Keith Hernandez hit for the cycle. A Met Club record 28 hits. A game that saw Ray Knight leave 11 men on base, but he turned out to be one of the heroes of the game. Here's a look back at the long night and morning.
And he struck him out, and he gets out of the bases loaded jam.
Well, I love a rainy night, such a beautiful sight.
It's coming down, the tarp's coming out, and we got another rain delay. Oh, brother.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog.
And another drive by Hernandez. If it's fair, it's a home run, and it is long gone.
Well hit into the gap in left center field. It's in there and by Dykstra. The bases will be cleared, and Atlanta takes the lead 8-7. Well hit to left field. It's back a ton. Out of here. Home run, Howard Johnson. 2 out, 2 strikes on Perry. Or Harper, I should say, who just hit it down the line. Fair ball. Home run.
Tom Gorman is a strike away from ending the ball game. And this ball hit out to deep left field. It could be extra bases, could be gone. It is gone. Goodbye. And the ball game is tied. How about that?
Tonight's the night we'll make history.
Ball hit well to right center. Washington over. Can't get to it. Carter's going to score. Mets lead it 12-11. Swing and a miss. Rick Camp strikes out. And this ball game is over.
How is this now for another record that was broken last night? Most runs in the 19th inning. Mets with 5 runs to set the record. Seymour Siwa for the Elias Bureau calling that one in. And there were 45,000 fans on hand when the game began because it was fireworks night in Atlanta. There were maybe 1,000 people remaining in the ballpark when the game ended at 5-4 this morning. But no false advertising for the Braves. They went ahead, let loose with a fireworks display after the game. This the scene about 4:15 this morning in Atlanta. The fireworks, as promised, the show goes on. Braves and Mets have made it to the ballpark, we're told, for tonight's game, and they are still talking about last night's incredible marathon.
Oh, it was a long night, especially when you stay out here that long and you don't win. It makes it that much more difficult to handle. But it was a once-in-a-lifetime game for me. 15 years in the big leagues, a lot of things happen in it that you didn't expect. But you know, the fans that stuck around and participated in it were great.
But, you know, last night had ingredients in the game. You know, the 2-out, 2-strike home runs, especially the one by Camp. I don't think you're going to match that one with anything.
And tonight in Atlanta, I'm told that, yes, it is raining. So weather permitting, it will be Rick Adler.
What's with the Mets? They lose 6, then they win 6. Up, down, now they're up. And what a day yesterday for Mr. and Mrs. Ray Knight. Here is Mr. 2 for 4 with an RBI in the first game. 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs in the second as the Mets swept away the Braves. That's Mr. Mrs. was pocketing $45,000 for the growth.
In a liner, and it's snagged by Ron Darling and saves a run. Then in the 6th, the Braves do it again. Tie game at 2. Ron Darling, ground ball. Paul Zavella picks it up and fires low to first base. Chris Chambliss picks it up, fires home too late as Ray Knight comes in. Give it to the Mets, 8-5. The Mets play the Reds at Riverfront tonight. 2.5 games behind the Cardinals at the moment.
It presents Monday Night Baseball at Riverfront Stadium, the New York Mets and the Cincinnati Reds.
This ABC Sports, who invites you to see today's Chevy, drive today's Chevy, live today's Chevy. By the U.S. Armed Forces, it's a great place to start. And by IBM.
6 in a row. Prior to that, they had dropped 6 straight. So Davy Johnson's troops are very, very high right now as they come in to begin this 3-game series at Riverfront Stadium. And it's only surprising in the sense the Mets are in the race despite the fact they are next to last in the National League in hitting, and their bullpen generally has been very suspect. Outfield of George Foster, Len Dykstra, and Darryl Strawberry. Ed Lynch, who pitched in the game in Los Angeles that opened our Monday night package in June. He's won twice since. He doesn't hurt himself, as you can see. 14 walks in 113 and a third innings. He doesn't.
This is one of the things that Pete does very well.
Hit back through the middle, base hit, and it's 2-0. And Oster takes a big turn. They throw it behind him, and he's out of there. He stumbled in the sliding blocks and had trouble getting back. And that's a play you normally don't see somebody like Oster with all of his experience make. That can run you out of a big inning.
Little change up away, bounded up the middle. Of course, Oster thinking maybe he can go to third, but kind of indecisive base running. Bad base running.
This is the kind of key play young Dykstra has been making for the Mets.
Well, he came up early in the season. You said he's been up 3 times, hits a home run off Soto, 2-run home run. He's not a home run hitter. Gets the game-winning hit on the following Sunday, makes a game-winning catch.
Price bunts down to Hernandez, and the Gold Glove first baseman throws too late, but back to first in time. So they get Price.
That was a gambling play by Hernandez, I'll tell you.
A different way. 3-6-4 on the sacrifice.
Well, another aggressive play. Hernandez, one of the best fielders around, but you got to give the credit to Santana. Knows he doesn't have a force at second, goes back to first, knowing that Price doesn't run that well for the out.
2 to seeking their third straight and lead the Mets 2-0 going to the third.
Tony Gwynn led the National League in batting last year.
That's lined on one hop and fielded by Chapman, who throws him out.
Going back to that thought, when Alan Wiggins was on, Gwynn hit 403. Knew he was going to get fastballs. Chapman to his left. Rose got a high curveball, hit it right on the line, but Chapman was there. You see the put out.
Maybe the best evidence of what you're saying was
Flanagan and McGregor were going behind me. Makes you relax a little bit.
To center field and deep. Back goes Milner all the way back, and it's gone. And that one carried.
A flick.
Humidity or not.
And a flick of the wrist did it. Did you see that? Started off like a deep pop-up and just kept going.
So Krenchecki's ball looked like it would be out, and it stayed in. Maybe it has more to do with the baseball than humidity.
I think a lot of it has to do with who's hitting it. And here you see a ball, a pretty good pitch. Strawberry, great extension. First home run back since the injury. A lot of guys just be a fly ball with his strength. Of course, that's the one thing that makes Darryl Strawberry an exception. Coming up, leading the inning. There we see strike 3.
Price, like Koufax, throws left, bats right, and hits like Sandy. Down he goes in the 4-3-1 Reds. Back after this message and news headlines from our local stations.
It's down by San Clemente.
Yeah.
Trying to ride the wave.
He loves it.
In the air to deep right field, and it sends Parker all the way back, and it's out of here. And a 3-1 pitch. Hernandez, who hit for the cycle 3 nights ago, now has a single, a double, and a home run. He could do it again.
Oh, as he got his swing back. Beautiful thing to watch.
Keith Hernandez, 3-3, and the Mets have tied it.
3-1 fastball. Talk about statistics.
Price hadn't given up a home run, as Jim mentioned earlier, to a lefty all year. Tonight he's given up 2. There is Ray Knight. Pulled a muscle, but he'll be back in the game shortly. Only out a few.
And Carter is out number 3. But the Mets get 2, and after 4.5, a 3-3 tie at Riverfront. Johnson. In the air to deep left center field, way back and out of here. As Venable goes crashing into the fence. Price with 2 out here in the 6th inning gives up a home run to Johnson, his 4th of the season. And his 2nd on this Mets road trip. He hit one in Atlanta in the marathon game the other night.
You know, you watch this Mets team, and it seems impossible not to think back to 1969 as you look at this again. They really get it from the most unexpected sources, don't they? At the most unexpected times. 2 out. Hojo hits it. 200 hitter. Hits it right-handed. Basic power from the left side.
Santana now the bat. 1-1. Howard Johnson. Again, Ray Knight was given the job at 3rd, even though Johnson was in the lineup a couple of times last week at shortstop. With Santana on the bench as he talks to Rusty. Johnson ties the game in the middle of the 6th inning. Mets score, Reds score. Little squiver, could be a tough play as Johnson will have to hurry and just does get it. There goes the 3rd. Little cue shot spun down the 3rd, and they just do get Foley.
Johnson, mainly known for his fielding this year. Excellent play. Again, Hernandez with a good stretch at first. Ask most third basemen what the toughest blow.
3-2 to Cedeno. Got him swinging. Took something off it. Kept him down. And he strikes out on what would have been ball 4. Another look as Cedeno goes fishing, and we go to the 7th, still tied. That's hit down the left field line and into the corner, and he is now 6 for 14 as a pinch hitter as he pulls into 2nd with a double. As John Franco, the left-hander, gets up, and Keith Hernandez, 3/4 of the way to the cycle, stands in.
And back
time in 4 nights. That homer tied the game at 3.
Run out of catchers. Lenny Sakata comes in, catches the 10th and 11th, hits a 3-run home run to win the ball.
4 for 4.
Hernandez with a single to center field, and Backman is being waved in. Rose lets the throw come through, and he scores. And Hernandez with his 4th hit, and the Mets have the lead by 4. Amazing. Keith the other night, with his only multiple hit game in his last 23, had 4 hits, and now he has another 4 hits.
A lot of times when you're in a slump, and Keith was, you get the good pitches to hit, you don't hit them. Tonight he's got the pitches to hit. He's gotten 4 of them.
You know, Rose must be going crazy.
The year of the Rose Harrelson. It's always funny to see the 2 of them standing together as Foster throws one to deep left center field, and that shades of the old Big Red Machine. Into the green seats, and it's 7-4. So Carter pointed away with a warning track out, and Foster takes him deep. Number 13 for the Mets team leader. Makes a pitching change. He wants Franco.
All right, give me a right-hander. Give me a right-hander.
Again, and never a doubt. Just look at the outfielders. Just staring up at it. That's the way to tell. Look at the outfielders. We'll be back.
The inning, but the Mets come up with 3, lead 7-4. We'll be back after this message and news headlines from our local station. Sharply down to 3rd. Johnson, after staying with it, drops it, throws to 1st, and still has time to get it. And had the wherewithal to think about first base after initially perhaps thinking about the force at 2nd as the easier play.
Again, Howard Johnson going back. Fumbles the ball, but knows that Perez doesn't run that quickly. Still has time to make the out at 1st.
So they settle for 1, and there was the reaction of Bard's shot. Agony at 1st on the routine grounder. And a little bit of 5 Mets to the 9th we go. Covington, Kentucky, which is across the river. Of course he knows who he is. And Pete hits it right back off of Roscoe. And Jesse throws him out. I guess his look says it all. Jesse Orozco. Hello. Ooh.
Interesting game in the respect that the Mets showed you some variety of weapons tonight.
Back after this from your local stations.
Swing and a miss. He got him. Second strikeout for Dwight Gooden. 6 in a row retired by the doctor. And after 2 innings of play, there's no score. Now here's a word from Burger King.
It's a small hint.
Yeah.
A minor hint as opposed to a major hint. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And George drives one to center field. Milner going back. Out of here. Home run. George Foster, his 2nd in 2 nights and his 14th of the year.
Man, George Foster has always loved to hit in this ballpark. He had 52 home runs as a member of the Cincinnati Reds back in '77, primarily on pitches like this. Slider away. Man, watch the extension. Slider away, right on the sweet part of the bat, and the ball kept going, gone.
And batting instructor Bill Robinson loves to see Foster go to right center field because he feels that's where George hits the ball best, and that would certainly be indicative of that. 1-0 New York as Howard Johnson.
As he received the league office saying that Keith Hernandez must keep both feet in fair territory. See, he's almost got 2 feet out there. Got him! I'd send in a protest too. Man.
Well, the reason for that obviously is that he can get the glove a lot closer to the bag and he doesn't have to bring the ball back.
And your point is well taken, Steve. Look where the glove is. Slap tag. Got him. Man.
He was leaning.
Took that 1 step. Once you pick that right foot up, when you pick the right foot.
Ripped a ton down the right field line. Out of here into the mezzanine level, a 2-run home run. Soto, his 2nd home run of the game and his 17th allowed this year. The Mets lead it 3-0, and Hernandez hits his 7th dinger of the year and now leads the club with 41 RBIs.
Well, Mario Soto shook off the fastball inside. He shook off the fastball away, and the 2 came down. And when most pitchers use 2, it's a breaking ball, but Soto's 2 is his changeup, and Hernandez parks it deep in right field, his 7th home run of the year. Now there it is. We're right in that wheelhouse. Hit it a ton. Way back up in there. 3-0 New York.
There's Gary Carter, who takes high for ball 1. There are those that feel that as Hernandez goes, so go the Mets. He is
Swing and a miss. He got him. Tied him up again, Steve. 3rd strikeout for Gooden, and twice he has gotten nicely.
This pitch almost a carbon copy of the one before. Watch where it is. Inside half of the plate, and look at nicely trying to get that bat around and trying to get the fat part of the bat on the ball with no pitch.
1-2 the count. Reds with their first threat in the ball game. Mets leading 3-0. Runners at first and second. And strike 3. And Gooden picks up his 5th strikeout. And he has struck out nicely 3 times. So Gooden does it. Never retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, and 2 men left. And ball 4. Another walk. Walk number 6. And now runners at first and second with no one out. So now walking. And he walked him, and the Mets get a run. 4 straight walks. 3 by Soto, who left the ball game, and now 1 by Hume, and the Mets lead 4-0. 1-0 pitch hit out to left center field. It'll score a run. Catch is made by Venable. Tagged up at third is Carter. He comes in to score. Tagged up at second is Strawberry. He goes over to third. And the Mets now with runners at first and third and leading by a score of 5-0.
That's what you want to do.
Now the batter is Rafael Santana, and he hits one to right field. Parker is there, and he lets it go by. Misses the ball. Strawberry scores from third, and the Mets lead 6-0 on the big error by Dave Parker.
I think David took his eye off the ball. He thought he might have a shot to catch Foster off first base. He's got it right there. I don't think he looked up thinking about throwing behind Foster because George was almost halfway to second. And when he did, he took his eye off the ball, and the ball went right underneath his glove. Fortunately, he got a piece of it, or that ball would have rolled all the way to the wall.
So the Mets leading now by a score of 6-0, and the batter is Gooden. He bounces it back to Hume, and he throws it wild. The throw to first base, not in time, and another error. Charge to the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, the error is going to be on Tom Hume. Easy double play ball as he hit it right back to Hume very sharply, and he throws it to the wrong guy. Fortunately for Cincinnati, Oster was there, or another run would have scored because the ball going into center field would have allowed Fox to
score 4 runs without a base hit. There were 2 errors and 2 men left on. And the score at the end of 7 1/2 innings, the Mets 7 and
ground ball. Hernandez gloves it. Gooden covering at first. Just does beat Milner. Very close play at first base as Walker goes over to third, now with 2 away.
Oh, we'll look at it again. Milner slides into the bag. Gooden getting over there. Hernandez making a good catch of that ball. Took a bad hop, and now it's going to be close. Well, they say that a tie goes to the runner. Don't know if that's true or not. Now Gooden got there first.
Just did beat him. And a great play by Howard Johnson ends the inning. What a reaction by Hojo to spear that hard-hit line drive.
Oh, Hojo playing in, even though there were 2 out. And Rose not a bunter at this late stage of his life. It was a great play from that position.
7-2, the Mets lead it as we go to the 9th inning here in Cincinnati. After this word, 2-2, bases loaded, nobody out. And it's ripped into right field, and at least one will score. Parker up with it. Hernandez scores. Carter coming home. There will be no relay as Strawberry goes to third, and the Mets now lead it 9-1. Foster now has driven in 4 runs on the night. And the Mets with runners at first and third, still nobody out.
Foster got a run batted in with a home run back in the 4th inning, his 14th. He walked with the bases loaded in the 8th inning to get his 2nd RBI, and now here with his single to right field. He drives in 2, and the Mets now leading by a score of 9-2.
Reds, with the Reds participating a great deal. Fly ball center field. Dykstra going back, and he appears to have room and makes the catch. Throw a couple of deep fly balls, but Orozco faces only 3 here in the 9th. And Dwight Gooden picks up win number 12 to run his record to 12-3. And the New York Mets have now won 8 games in a row. The final score, 11-2 Mets. Ralph and I will be right back to wrap it up. Stay with us. We'll return to Riverfront after this for American Express.
And then back on May 5th, Tom Browning lost 3-2 to New York.
Red's very high on him. And Hernandez slaps the ball down the left field line. Could be extra bases. Chapman should score. And Hernandez is standing on second base with a double. So Keith Hernandez picking up his 16th double of the year and his 42nd run batted in, and the Mets take the lead 2-1.
Good base running, good third base coaching, and good hitting. Hit and run. Down and away. Hernandez a little slicer down the left field line. Now Venable comes up with the ball, but the position he's in warranted Buddy Harrelson to send Chapman. An outstanding play by Buddy Harrelson.
And now they're 2.5 out.
That's going to be tough. Ground ball back to Aguilera. And an easy inning for Rick. He has retired 7 Reds in a row. And after 8, the Mets lead 2-1. Good ball game. 6 or 7. Joe Torre.
Not for long, though.
Not for long. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 3rd strikeout for Rick Aguilera, and the Mets win. What a brilliant pitching performance by young Rick Aguilera. The Mets win it 2-1 as Aguilera retired the last 10 Reds to face him. The only run coming on Dave Parker's 15th home run of the year. Line score on the game, 2-8-0 for the Mets, 1-6-0 for the Reds. And Ralph and I will be back for the wrap-up right after this.
Runner going, and the pitch is hit into center field. Dykstra over, and a diving catch by Lenny Dykstra. To save the ball game, Len Dykstra fully extended, hauls in the drive from Terry Poole to send the game to extra innings.
And you called it right, Steve. He saved the ball game with his catch. Dickie Thorne running with a pitch would have scored easily, and Dykstra making the diving catch. His head hitting that hard AstroTurf, but he holds up the ball in the glove, and that puts the ball game into extra innings.
We'll be back for the 10th here in Houston, thanks to the play by Len Dykstra. 3-3 as we go to extra innings right after this.
It's to Bill Doran, who was 4 for 5 on the night. He's 5 for 6, a game-winning RBI, and I do not understand it, Ralph Kiner. Nonetheless, 4-12-2 for the Astros, 3-10-0 for the Mets, and we'll be back with a wrap-up right after this.
Houston tonight, Ed Lynch against Mark Knudsen. The Mets won last night's game 3-2 in 10 innings when Rafael Santana scored Howard Johnson from second with this 2-out single in the 10th. Alan Ashby had tied it for the Astros with a 2-out homer in the 9th off winner Ron Darling. And in golf,
6-5, an earned run average at 3.09. He has never defeated Houston, a lifetime record of 0. Here we go again, the second big blackout.
1977. Backman a liner up the middle. Mets tie it at 1. Wally Backman comes through with his 13th RBI of the year. Big 2-out base hit.
And Backman continues his strong hitting. He now has hit in 9 consecutive ball games. He drove in a run in yesterday's ball game to put the Mets up 2-1. That was with a sacrifice fly, and right here he ties the ball game with a single to center field in the 3rd.
Hey, it looked out to me. There's the tag, and there's the foot on the bag.
I say safe.
Oh, you saw later with the Braves, and he started this Astro franchise. Line to center, and Bass can't get it. It's fine. 1 run scores. Hernandez is going to go at least to 3rd. And the Mets lead it 2-1. 2 consecutive 2-out base hits have put the Mets in front.
Well, the danger of this AstroTurf shown right here as Hernandez rips it into center field. Bass tries to get to it, can't get to it, and it goes on by. Coming in to score easily is Wally Backman, and now Keith Hernandez on his way to 3rd. And he ends up at 3rd base. We'll see how it's scored. It could be scored a single and an error. It could be scored a 3-base hit.
Going to be a 2 base hits, scoring 2 runs, 1 error in the game.
As it backs back toward the inside part of the plate.
Grounded. What a play. Hernandez, Lynch late and covering. And he made the tag. Oh, brother. And Lillis out to argue. Only guy not arguing, the first base coach.
Well, the big question here is how did Keith Hernandez catch the ball? And the second question is, did he tag him? He did not get to the bag. He was short of the bag because he was short. And in a late start to first base. Now watch this fantastic catch by Keith Hernandez. He has it. And from here it would have been routine, but Ed Lynch didn't think it was going to be caught. Does he tag him? He did.
He sure did. Steve Ripley, the first base umpire, punching him out.
Look at that catch.
Man.
Boy, he's been spectacular in this series. Backman was looking out to right field. He didn't think it could be caught either. And he gets him right here.
Well, the tag was made before the foot hit the bag. A good recovery by Lynch, but
Driven to right and deep. Terry Poole into the corner, and it's off the wall. Foster heading for second, and he will make it with a double.
this ball hits the base of the fence in right field. And watch this little hop for Terry Poole. He plays it nicely. Watch this. Like he takes it off a tee. And George going into second base, standing up. Not even close. Look at the flight of the ball. Boy, that's a great shot. Check this out. Watch that little carom. Little short hop off the fence. And Poole, a good right fielder, plays it nicely, but George in there.
So one out double for Foster. Fifth hit for New York. And here's Howard Johnson, who rips one to center. Bass will not be able to cut it off. Foster will cruise home. Johnson holding at second base with a double. The Mets lead it now 3-1 on back-to-back doubles, and Howard Johnson is now 7 for 12 in this series.
Hojo coming alive. Entered the game batting .223 and a breaking ball ripped to right center. Ball gets by Kevin Bass. Foster scoring easily. Mets up 3-1. His 7th base hit of this ball game. He scored the winning run in last night's ball game. He doubled in the 10th inning with the
back doubles, add a run to their lead, and in the middle of the 4th, it's 3-1 New York. Now here's the word. Backman takes ball 4, and the Mets have runners at first and second with nobody out. Heath up among the league leaders in walks. Now 2-2. And it's tapped to second. Doran will have no play, and it's an infield base hit and an RBI for Strawberry, and the Mets now lead it 4-1. Davis vacated his position, and Madden didn't get over to cover.
Well, there's the other side of the coin. Bob Lillis wishes he were the one who was thrown out of the game so he wouldn't have to watch this. Man, is that frustrating. You bring a pitcher in, he walks the bases loaded, and then doesn't cover first base. Man.
Guy of the year. And the book is closed on him with 4.
Swing of the bat in this ball game's history for the most part.
And he gets a fastball and hits it deep to right field. Poole at the wall, and it's off the wall. Strawberry coming to third base as Foster goes to second. Darrell is going to be sent home without a throw. Bill Doran double clutched on the ball and didn't fire it home. It looked like he had a shot to get Strawberry, but it winds up as a 3-run double for Foster.
I mean, a rocket off the right field wall. It's amazing that Poole got back. And in the situation to feel that ball, but the ball caroming off the wall, Backman scores. And Hernandez, and now Darrell Strawberry scores. I agree with you. Had Doran gotten rid of the ball in a hurry, then he may have had a shot at Darrell. But, I mean, Darrell turned on the burners and hitting 3-0. And you got to let him hit 3-0. I mean, he pounds this ball to right field. Hit right above the glove of Terry Poole, and now it's a 7-1 ball game, and that's why you let Foster try to put the game out of reach. That's what he's paid for.
And he is now, did you see, with help of a couple of walks, and lead it 7-1 in the middle of the fifth.
Place. And a line drive, base hit by Keith Hernandez. It'll be extra bases. Keith on his way to second. And he'll go in with a stand-up double, and Keith has been a marathon runner out here tonight. He's had a long run from home to third and also one right here from home to second.
And he's also walked and scored a run. So Keith's been on a merry-go-round out there. He's been on base all 4 times up now with 2 hits and 2 walks. And he has got the Mets started in fine fashion in double figures in the hit column yet again.
And Carter through the middle with a base hit. Hernandez to third. And he's being waved in. The throw by Bass is not in time. Hernandez is safe. So the Mets get another, and they lead by a score of 8-1.
Good piece of hitting by Gary Carter, who may have hurt himself on the play. Gary, who has had some knee troubles over the course of his career, and what catcher hasn't? As you see the line shot back up the middle. Hernandez chugging home, and the ball really didn't have a lot on it. At first it looked like Bass's throw might get there in time. And Keith said, "What'd I slide for?" Well, let's watch Carter run down to first base. See, he's laboring a little bit as it is. You can tell that he's limping as he's running, and he may be removed from the ball game as trainer Steve Garland is out to attend to him.
And Carter is the all-star catcher. And if he is hurt,
that RBI for Carter, his 40th of the year.
So the Mets waiting for a pinch runner. It'll probably be Ron Reynolds who'll take over the catching duties.
I would imagine, Ralph, that he might have done it on the swing because it looked like he was laboring from the time he left the batter's box. And he did go down low to get that pitch. And it appears to be his left knee. Look at the torque on his front knee there.
3 in a row and bottom up.
Well, a lot of your hitting is off the drive of your legs, and right there you saw the action of that left knee, the front knee going back and then going forward.
And you can see Carter grimace as he tried to drive out of the batter's
box. He rips one into right center field. It'll be a base hit. Carberry coming up with another base hit. And moving over to third base is Ron Darling, who was put in as a pinch runner for Gary Carter.
Well, Darrell's second consecutive base hit, the first one of the infield variety, but this one smoked into right center field. So first and third for New York with nobody out.
When Darrell was batting, Davey Johnson came out to protect him and argued with him, got ejected from the ball game. It was the third. Fastball hit up the middle. It bounces off the foot. The pitcher can't be picked up by Reynolds. It'll be a base hit. Darling comes in to score, and the Mets now pick up another. They lead by a score of 9-1, and Foster gets his 4th run batted in of this game. 10. And it's punched out in the right center field. A play that will not be caught. Coming in from third is Strawberry, and Santana drives in another. Rafael Santana with a base hit to right. Strawberry scoring. Foster down to second. And the Mets continue here in the top of the 7th inning. Their 5th hit.
RBI number 18 for Raffy. And he has just been a model of consistency, hitting over 300 over the last 34 games.
In the inning. The Mets score 3 runs. And a 2-0 count to Kelvin Chapman. And it's hit hard down to third. They'll try for 2. There's 1. And the ball in the dirt gets away. And now coming around from third to score is Reynolds. And on his way to third base is Chapman. Chapman now breaking for home. Here's the play, and he is out. So Chapman making another bad base running play. He had made one earlier in the ball game when he was trapped off at second base.
Well, we'll look at it again.
Well, Chapman hits what should be a double play ball here, but he does run very well. Walling gets it over to Doran in good shape, but a good takeout slide by Dykstra causes the throw to be in the dirt to Davis. It actually hit Chapman as he ran by, and he knocked it down the right field line, which allows Reynolds to score and makes it 1-0 New York. Now, the right fielder, Jerry Mumphrey, triple pumped before throwing home. So Chapman decided he'd try it, and he was out even though he tried to elude the tag.
And on this play, Reynolds at second base was going back to second. He wasn't even running to third.
There's the ball hitting Chapman after hitting in the dirt that caused it to go down the right field line. And Chapman tried to come home but was out.
So in the inning, 1 run scoring on 2 hits. There was 1 error and no one left on base, and the score make that 1 man left on base. The score that didn't do him any good.
Uncle Charlie, or Lord Charles, if you will. And Dwight Gooden strikes out the side for the first time in the ball game and is yet again in double figures with his 10th K of the ball game. 1-0 New York. We're back after this for Manufacturers Hanover. First half of the season, but it's ripped down the line. Hooking foul. The reaction of Dwight Gooden tells it all as Kevin Bass, who has already hit 10 home runs this year, puts the charge in this high fastball, and it is foul by about 10 or 12 feet. It was the 9th inning of Friday night's game when the Mets were leading by 1 with 2 out in the bottom of the 9th that Alan Ashby homered to tie the ball game. Kevin Bass almost repeated that feat. Here is the Mets dugout. All heads moving at once following the flight of the baseball. 3-2 again. And he swings at a low pitch, and he's out of there. And Gooden strikes his 8th complete game and 4th shutout of the year. He strikes out double figures for the 21st time in his career. And a coaching staff, Buddy Harrelson and Wally Backman fighting each other to be the first out to congratulate Dwight Gooden. What an end to the first half of the season for New York as the Mets have won 12 of their last 13. We'll be back to wrap it up. Tim McCarver will have an interview. Stay with us.
Madonna with no clothes and bigger than Coke with a new taste. The sad state of affairs in Major League Baseball is sadder today as the players have voted to strike Tuesday, August 6th, if no agreement with the owners has been reached by then. The big issue, of course, is money. The owners say they're losing it. The players say, show us some proof. And apparently the players aren't willing to wait very long for that proof, as we hear from Donald Fair, Executive Director of the Players Association.
It's a little over 3 weeks from today, but it is in more than enough time to reach appropriate collective bargaining agreements that would avoid that occurrence if the owners have any interest in trying to do that.
Well, strike or no strike, there will be an all-star game tomorrow night in Minneapolis. And we've got Corey McFerrin right now live at the Metrodome where the players are getting ready for the game. And I would suspect...
Let's talk about baseball, the all-star game tomorrow night. Ron Darling, his first trip. Darryl Strawberry, his second. Ron, when you get out here and mix with some of the great players in the game today, who is it that you kind of enjoy seeing out here and playing around with out in the field?
I think the one I really like playing with is Pete Rose. I've always admired him since I was a young kid, and I've always wanted to play against him, and now I get to play with him. It's a real pleasure.
Exciting the first time?
Yeah, it really is. I faced him my first big league start and struck him out, so it's going to be nice now to play on the same team with him.
Darryl, your second trip here, who's the guy out here you enjoy playing with?
Well, I think it's Don Mattingly of New York Yankees. He's a great guy. You know, we had a chance to talk today for the first time in a long time, and he's just one of those type of players. You know, he's a superb player. He's doing everything well, and I just admire Don Mattingly. And plus, he plays in New York.
Darryl, Ron, thank you very much. Good luck in the ball game tomorrow night. Ron Darling, Darryl Strawberry, back to you, Spencer.
All right, Corey, we'll see you again at 11. Well, it's been a tense day for the Mets. Catcher Gary Carter had his ailing right knee examined, and it had been feared he might need surgery. Carter aggravated an old injury to his right knee Saturday night on this single in Houston. I spoke with Gary today just as he left the doctor's office late this afternoon.
Well, Spencer, I'm optimistic now that I've had the opportunity of talking with Dr. Warren. He seems to feel that there is some inflammation there, and he has examined it and feels that by giving it some rest, and he administered some cortisone, that it seems as though that maybe giving it a few days rest and all may cure it. I'm hoping that within the next few days that what has been administered will be a good result, and that I should hopefully be able to be back in there and playing by this weekend.
So here's the situation. There is damage to Carter's knee, but the Mets are hoping that with rest and cortisone treatment, Carter can play the remainder of the season without needing surgery. Now, with all the grim news out of the way, here's the good news. Both the Mets and the Yankees are on fire, closing in on first place in their respective divisions. A Subway Series could happen this fall. Dwight Gooden and Ron Guidry were winners for the local teams yesterday. Starting in Houston last night, Dwight Gooden pitched another masterpiece, struck out 11 batters, including Kevin Bass here, who says, "Whew, what kind of pitch was that?" Only run of the game came in the 8th inning. Kelvin Chapman hits what should be a double play ball to third, but Bill Doran's relay to first is wild. The ball goes down the right field line. Ron Reynolds comes in to score the only run of the game. Mets beat the Astros 1-0. Meanwhile, yesterday at the stadium.
And speaking of all-star pitchers, this man, Dwight Gooden of the Mets, immediately comes to mind following his masterful performance in a 1-0 victory over the Houston Astros last night. The 20-year-old prodigy continues to make baseball experts shake their head in wonderment. Struck out 11, gave up 5 hits. The shutout was his 4th of the year, making him the first Met pitcher since 1976 to record more than 3. He leads the majors in strikeouts with 153 and 155 and 2/3 innings. And let us now a quick comparison of the two top pitchers in New York at this time. Gooden, 13-3 with a 1.68 ERA, tops among starting pitchers in the majors. Guidry has compiled a 12-3 record with an overall earned run average of 2.58, which is second best in the American League.
This will be his first All-Star victory in the National League. He was 0-3 with the American. And down goes Gedman, a fitting climax to the game as Gossage puts him away, and the National League wins another one. 6 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the National League. 1 run, 5 hits, and no errors for the American League. But one other thought. Prior to tonight's game, the National League had won 20 of the last 22, and yet the American League almost broke even in the last 22 World Series. So the National League certainly wins 6-1 convincingly. The 1985 All-Star Game has been brought to you by...
And for the Mets, Ron Darling with a record of 9-2 and an earned run average of 2.52. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Kiner, along with Fran Healy and Tim McCarver, all set for what is considered to be the second half of the season. The Mets are 2.5 games back. They're in second place, trading the St. Louis Cardinals, and here tonight they're going against the Atlanta Braves.
Fellow who, I guess, perseverance is his trademark, Tom Paciorek. He was originally with the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Atlanta Braves after that, and then with the Seattle Mariners and the Chicago White Sox, and now a New York Met, and I guess you're happy to be here, Tom.
I really am, Timmy. I think, I really feel like I've been almost reborn baseball-wise, you know, at the tender age of 38. Actually, I feel like it's really a great... geez, I just feel so good about being here. I think it's great to be able to play the greatest game in the world, in the greatest city in the world. You know, and yeah, I think it's just going to be a whole lot of fun.
I have acknowledged if he were a Gold Glove winner. Ground ball in the hole, a base hit as Wally Backman extends his hitting streak. Dykstra to third against the strong arm of Claudel Washington, and he makes it safely.
Well, good hustle by Lenny Dykstra, and the one thing the Mets had trouble with early in the year is getting the table setters on base, but right here, there are 2 table setters now on first and third. The base hit in the right field, strong throw by Claudel Washington, but good hustle by Lenny Dykstra, gets him to third, and nobody out here in the bottom of the first. Runners on first and third, another look.
Boy, hold on for dear life.
That head first slide. Here it is. Look at all kinds of cameras, don't we, down there?
So now the K-I-N-G, Andujar walked away from the All-Star game and drive to left. Right there is Harper, and Terry makes the catch. Dykstra's going to try and score, and he will. The throw way offline. So a gamble by Bud Harrelson, the third base coach, on the short line drive, but the throw offline and the Mets get a run.
Making the play, everything going towards home plate. But he threw the ball to the left of home plate.
Horner hits 3-0. Fine play by Howard Johnson, and he throws it away. So Howard Johnson, with all the time in the world, after making a great stop, threw it away.
Oh, Bob Horner really scorching his ball. Nice play by Howard Johnson. And then he got up and threw the ball away. But a good stop by Howard Johnson. Bob Horner thought he was going to get hit in the head.
He almost did.
Yeah, nice angle. Another angle, I should say, and a nice play, and just a bad throw.
And an argument as to what... Going with a pitch, and this ball lined into center. Dykstra dives for it and makes the play. Has a play at first base now. The throw, though, is offline, and Horner gets back to the bag. Another sparkling diving catch by Dykstra in center.
Here it is again, the omnipresent Lenny Dykstra. Another angle. Here's a real big league play. Well, what a play that was. Wow. Another angle. Do it.
Shades of Tommy Agee out there.
Unreal.
Then Dykstra almost got a double play out of it. But taking another hard hit.
And the ball's bunted. Hernandez making a play. I'm not surprised. Double play. 3, 6, 4. And it all started with him. Nobody does it better.
Back in 1975, Ron Fairley convinced Keith Hernandez that on a play like this, if you make the throw to second base, even if the runner is safe, then you're still going to get the runner who bunted the ball. And in that situation, as you see, they have Mailer easily, so even if you don't get Cerrone, you're going to still get Mailer. So go ahead and throw the ball to second base. They do get Cerrone, who is not fast, and they turn it for the double play. Nicely turned by Keith Hernandez.
And Murphy goes the other way with power. Should be another double. Ramirez heading to third base. Strawberry getting the ball back in. Ramirez is going to try to score. The throw in time. Nice play by Strawberry and Bachman.
And not a good play by Bobby Wine, the third base coach. You send Rafael Ramirez right here. The reason it's not a good play, Strawberry gets the ball back in a hurry, even though it is a high hop. And it's not a good cutoff throw by Strawberry, but a good play by Bachman. Excellent play by Reynolds, because that's your blind side. When you have a runner coming in from that side, you really don't know where the runner is. Now watch Reynolds go out, catches the short hop, and comes back in. Good play, Ron Reynolds. Bachman getting rid of the ball in a hurry. And the play by Reynolds. But with nobody out, you just can't send Ramirez on a play like that.
And he had his mask on, made the play, and made the tag. Ground ball to third off of Johnson's glove. And it'll be scored an error, and Dale Murphy scores. 4-1 in favor of the Braves.
Well, the third error of the night for Howard Johnson, and he probably made this error because he made the first error of the inning. Watch how he lets the ball play him. And the one thing about Howard, all through his hitting woes early in the season, it has not affected his defense, but this ball just eats him up. Instead of charging the back,
bases loaded, 2 outs.
Continue to toy with him, though. He won't give him a fastball.
1-0 pitch. Here's a base hit into center field. The Mets will score 2, and it's all tied. The throw to third. Hernandez through the throw, and he's safe at second base. It's all tied at 4.
Well, I'll tell you, I was dead wrong. You try to judge Rick Mailer's team.
And he throws Darryl Strawberry a fastball right down Broadway, and Darryl sends it right down 7th. Man, that was a bullet up the middle. Hernandez caught in between, and Murphy now throws to third, and Hernandez scampering back to second base. Johnson 0 for 2 in his game, and he gets a fastball, pops the ball up in the infield. Oberkfell calling for it, and does not make the play. And the Mets scores 2 more. It's now 6-4. Unbelievable ball game. This game is about as congested as New York traffic. This is certainly the worst ball game that I've seen this year, I'll tell you that. Oberkfell makes the call, now a peak. 2 runners score, and George Foster's still on second base. Foster has got to be on third base. Johnson's got to move up. Even though the 2 runs score, the Mets should have runners at second and third and 2 out. And it scored an error, and it's now 6-4 in this ball game. His second time up, he lined out with the bases loaded, and Howard Johnson throws him out. A mock cheer from the crowd. Johnson with 3 errors on the evening.
Well, he's had a tough night down there. This one doesn't even take a good hop. He had to go down and get it. Fortunately did, and came up with a good throw.
So 1 pitch, Dale Murphy's out of there.
That's the way to go there. Howard, give him a little tip of the
2 and 2, 2 out. Popped up in the infield. That could do it. And the third out is caught by Wally Backman, and Jesse Orozco gets his 9th save of the year. Ron Darling, in a struggling debut here in the second half of the season, wins his 10th ball game of the year. And here's the reaction of Jesse Orozco. What a job.
Came back with a heater, and Jesse knows it can be caught. And he picks up the save, and the Mets win it by a score of 7-6.
Line score in the game, 7-8-4 for the Mets, 6-11-4 for the Atlanta Braves. Ralph and I will be back with a wrap-up right after this word. What a pleasant surprise Aguilera has been, filling the shoes of Bruce Perini, who's been on the DL for some 2 months. Rip, what a play, Johnson. There's 1. Oh, baby. You're not going to ever see a double play turned any prettier than that. Man.
This ball is by Howard Johnson, but he somehow backhands it and then quickly makes a perfect throw to Chapman and gives Chapman enough time and a handleable throw for him to get off and complete the double play, even though Harper barreled right into him. A good play not only by Johnson, but by Chapman to turn it.
But the Braves take the lead. 1 run, 2 hits. They strand a runner and lead 1-0 after 6.5. Now a word from Garden
Swing. And on the mound, the cynosure of all eyes, out of Tampa, Florida, young Dwight Gooden. From all over the country they've come, the Braves and the Mets, to play in New York. Saturday afternoon, the NBC Game of the Week pits the Atlanta Braves and right-hander Steve Bedrosian against the New York Mets and Dwight Gooden. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with Joe Garagiola. Welcome to the Big Apple.
The big controversy in this ballpark is whether Keith Hernandez has 1 foot in foul territory or fair territory.
Well, now, the rule says he's supposed to stay in fair territory. Only the catcher can be in foul ground.
Well, I just can't see the big deal about it, but we're going to ask Keith and talk to him about it because it is a controversy.
The real treat. He's really been doing a job for the Mets. Backman is at second base, and Hernandez, controversy we talked about. We did talk to Keith about it, and he'll be explaining it is really all taped up, and he has a brace on his right knee, and it's a day-to-day thing, Vin.
Well, it is indeed. On the mound for the Mets is the franchise, and that would be Dwight Gooden with that 13-3 record. No record against Atlanta this year, 0-1 lifetime. Last time out, he picked up his 4th shutout. He blanked the Astros 1-0. In fact, he hasn't lost since May the 25th when the Dodgers beat him here. He has won 7 straight, and the last Mets starter to win 8 straight, Tom Seaver, back in 1975. So Dwight Gooden, as you can see, needs one more scalp, and that belongs to the Braves.
Well, they're trying to get me. The rule states that only the catcher can be in foul territory. I normally hold a runner on like this for 2 reasons. I have this foot to drive off of when the pitcher throws home so I can get covered in the hole. The other reason is I'm right here in front of the bag with my glove, and I can have the quickest time to make the tag on the runner. Now, if I have to come out in front of the bag, I lose that drive. If they make me stay in fair territory, I'll have to find something different.
Well, look, Gary Carter, perhaps a little bit slow in coming up out of that crouch with a bad knee, maybe. Strike 1 pitch, a bunt in the air up along first. Gooden in foul ground.
He made a good play on that ball. His follow-through is what really allowed him to make that play. He saw it go off the bat, and he just broke and made a good play. And, I mean, he could have gone a couple more steps and made the play.
So a fine defensive play by Dwight Gooden. Waddell Washington holding. Fastball blew him away. You bet the heat is on, and it was on Dale Murphy.
He just rears back and he lets it fly. Look at that follow through and look how much he put into it, and he just threw it right by him. They're out there having a meeting right now, and it's a case of who do you rather pick?
And they made him take it off. 1-2. Fastball. See you later. And Dwight Gooden is here. He has struck out 2, and the Braves lead a man at second.
They have, although Davy Johnson.
And there goes Dykstra. The pitch, a strike. The throw, not in time. He's 8 out of 9.
They will test Benedict behind the plate, and there's the run and hit where if you don't like it, take it, and he'll steal the base. And there's Dykstra as he's bearing down, and he's got the head down. One place to go, second base. He's not even worried about what the hitter's going to do.
Little guy is certainly making his contributions. He has reached either on a hit or walk 13 of his last 14 games, and as you can see, he's a bunt back towards Bedrosian, and he bobbles and can't make the play.
Well, it was not a very good bunt. He was bunting for the base hit. It was one of those situations where you want to pick up a base with an out. He bunts it right back, but Rosian's got ideas of trying to get Dykstra at third, and he just forgets to pick up the ball. He lost his concentration thinking he was going to get Dykstra, and it cost him.
3-2. Fastball, and he missed with it. So the bases are loaded in Los Angeles. High drive into deep right center field. Back goes Washington. Grand slam home run. Boy, what a study in contrast. One grinning takes a bow, and the other chews his gum. And it is 4-0 New York. Goes back to his patch in right field. The Mets 4 and Atlanta 0. Star game. Dwight Gooden on the hill for the National League, looking down the gun barrel of Lance Parrish. The Detroit Tiger catcher punched him out. The next hitter, Gooden took dead aim at Chet Lemon of Detroit. Got him swinging. And finally, to polish off his act, here is Alvin Davis at the plate. Adios. Gooden struck out the side. 2-0. High fly ball into right field. Going back on it is Claudell Washington to the wall. It is gone.
Really a batting practice fastball right in his power.
Howard Johnson now has 3 home runs and 10 runs batted in his last 12 games. And it is curtain call time at the Met. Up you go.
That's a whole new thing. And don't play day games and hours. And old Pete, nothing gets by him.
And there goes Dykstra on a line drive base hit to right field. Over to the line comes Claudell Washington, and they are going to hold. Now they're waving him in, and the relay is high. I can't believe how far down the line Bud Harrelson left the coaching box. He started to stop him, and Harrelson was no more than 20 feet from home plate.
He was right about where, here comes the throw from Claudell. Now maybe the relay, and Harrelson was just barely for a minute in your picture. He was past the where they hit the fungos. Now Dykstra sees the ball. Now he gets the stop sign right about here, but he's running through everything. Now let's see look where Harrelson is. Well, we didn't see it on that one. In the other picture, you barely get a flicker. He was 10 feet from home plate.
Harrelson almost scored. There's a base hit to the left field line. Hernandez will stop at second. So the Mets are leading 7-1. And Barker is not the answer. He's given up 3 hits in the inning. Tomorrow. And here he is, Darryl Strawberry, with 2 on and 2 out, 7-1 Mets. And he goes the other way. 0-1. And he lifts a high fly ball to deep center. Back goes Murphy, away back at the wall. He is hit it out. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Danny Heap takes ball 1. 7 RBIs, and the Mets lead the Braves. Hammered one. You saw Dale Murphy almost lose his glove over the first.
Brother, you talk about a Phyllis Diller beauty contest. Everybody finished 3rd.
3-1. There's a drive hooking down the right field line in the corner. It is gone. Home run. Danny Heap hits it out. 11-1 Mets. If this were a fight, they'd stop it.
He'll have to make a curtain call.
He just hit his 6th home run of the year, took a curtain call. You can imagine his delight as he trotted around the base path. We have a moment to turn the history page back. It was the 18th inning, July 4th, 5th, about 3 in the morning. Rick Camp hit a home run to tie up the game with 2 out in the 18th. But watch Danny Heap at the other end of a home run. Oh, my gosh. That's a great picture. Well, this time Danny hit it out and didn't hold his head. What a game. The Mets have hit 3 home runs. Darryl Strawberry, a grand slammer. Darryl Strawberry with 2 men aboard. Danny Heap with nobody on. Howard Johnson with 2 on. So the Mets have hit 4 home runs today in 4 innings, and they lead 11-1. And now they give the ball to Jeff Dedman. He says, thanks a lot. Right back after these messages from your local station. 2 out, bases empty. On the corner, foul tipped and held, so it hit the bat. That's only the 3rd strikeout for Dwight Gooden. He's got a walk in the park as they hang another K. 11-1 New York. You're looking at all-star pitcher Ron Darling, who will be 25 in August. Born in Honolulu. He'd love to hang 10 on the perfect wave. What's the matter with your hand? Cut it? Oh, you're going to be able to pitch? Definitely. Okay. You better be. Long way to go.
Is it bigger than the bread box?
Hey, did you give your uniform to Tom Paciorek? Yeah, what uniform number are you wearing now? 12. That's a hitter's number. You're trying to be a hitter. Okay. You also give us a little practice at reading lips. They've won 51 prior to today, and they don't have a 50 RBI man. There's a shot in the corner. Fair ball. And while Washington chases it, in comes Dykstra, stopping at second Hernandez, and this tidy little gem is 12-1 New York. It's the 3rd run scored by Dykstra.
Now batting, catcher Gary Corbett.
Look at those numbers. So Dykstra's been a very busy leadoff man. A walk and 2 singles, and he's come home 3 times. 1 New York. Here's another edition of Baseball Remembered. Hit a career high, most in the big leagues this year. Slice to left field, and this looks like it'll be his first hit against Dedman. Yup, and it'll be for extra bases. Darryl with his long legs is going to go for 3. And the throw, he is in there.
Strawberry very deceptive as far as speed. Ball works its way right into the corner. Harper, of course, was in left center field. He gets it to Harner, but not even close.
Left fielder, Danny.
What a day Strawberry is having. Harper did the best he could to run it down in the corner. Out on the lines. Ground ball to the hole, and it is speared by Hubbard, who throws to first in time. Boy, what a close play, because Dedman was juggling the ball. It was questionable whether he was in possession of it or not. But in this kind of a game, no argument. Johnson just brings the run in and goes to the water cooler.
Hubbard makes a good throw. Dedman coming on a dead run, and you can see that ball juggling. He loses it for a moment and then makes the catch again. You talk about possession, he never really was.
Looked befuddled. Horner struck out and looked mad, and that was that. A shot, a great stop by Howard Johnson. Got him. Oh, what a fine play.
What a tremendous play. And good plays are contagious when you got that kind of a lead. Watch this dive that he makes.
Third baseman.
Really leaves his feet, knows he's got a chance to get Murphy, and a perfect throw. Watch him leave his feet. Look at that. What a play. What a play.
He made a big play similar to that last night, so he's really bouncing back. Last night he got a double play. In order to placate the fans. Here's a drive by Hurdle, away back to right center. It's for Ashley Warren. Home run.
Talcum powder. Yeah, I wonder if he's going to have to make a curtain call.
Well, Julie and Ashley Lauren, Daddy's hit one out.
And now the right fielder, Darryl Strawberry.
15-2 New York. A home run with 2 on and a triple. He has scored 3 and knocked in 7. Ground ball. Hubbard takes care of him. Those are the figures. That's why he means so much to this ball club. What a difference, huh?
Left fielder, Danny.
The light beer from Miller happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Darryl Strawberry to help fight multiple sclerosis. 2 home runs, including a grand slam, 7 runs batted in, and for good measure, a triple. Scored 3, knocked in 7. Inscrutable. Got him, and it is over.
The final score, Mets 16 and Atlanta 4.
The Duck Sisk strikes out Claudell Washington. The total 16 runs on 18 hits for the Mets, including 5 home runs. 4, 7, and 1 for the Braves. Long day for Atlanta and a day in the park for New York. We'll be right back.
Darryl, it was simply a great year today for you, but you kept saying hi, Mom. Was it a special day for her?
Yeah, it was a special day when I hit 2 home runs. I want to say hello to my mother and my wife back in California.
Did you ever have 7 RBIs in Crenshaw High or on the playground?
No, I never had 7 RBIs. This is my first time having 7 RBIs in my career, and it was just one of those days, Joey. When you come to the park, you feel good, you know everything's going to go right, and everything went well for me.
Well, you gave us a lot of excitement. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Joe.
And we'll be right back after this message.
With the Chicago Cubs against the Dodgers, or the Houston Astros and the Mets. Saturday, it's St. Louis at San Diego, or the Cubs at the Dodgers, all on NBC. A blowout at Shea. Our thanks to Ross Schneiderman for the big assist as the Mets polish the Atlanta Braves off 16-4. We'll talk to you next weekend. For Joe Garagiola, this is Vin Scully wishing you a very pleasant good evening.
By when Kurt Flood was not down there before a game, pitcher was warming up, and just to get an idea of the strike zone.
Well hit right field. Washington back. This ball is out of here. Home run, Howard Johnson. Mets lead 2-1.
Johnson picking up his 5th home run, and don't be surprised if the 6th home run. Don't be surprised if the Braves try to trade for him. He has more than the Braves out this year.
That is his 4th home run against Braves pitching this year, and he only has 6. Fastball inside to Santana. Every Mets fan's tongue. Line to right, base hit. Dykstra may score. He's going to score. Backman's going to go to third. 3-1 New York.
Well, Wally Backman with this 3-base hit extends his hitting streak to 12 consecutive games. He's halfway to the Mets all-time record held by Hubie Brooks, who hit in 24 consecutive games. And Dykstra continues. And he comes in to score as Backman goes in with a triple.
And the batter, Keith Hernandez. Infield in, outfield straight away and deep. Only one away. Line past Chambliss. Hernandez may try for 2, and there he goes. Safe at second base. 4-1 New York. We'll see how they're going to score it. It's probably going to be a double RBI for Hernandez, but we'll see.
Well, Keith rips it, and no real chance at all for Chambliss. He got a piece of his glove on it to slow it down. Backman scores on the play, and now Hernandez sliding in and is safe as the ball was not handled by Savella. Now here's another angle of it.
Oh, a good swing.
Beautiful swing. So Hernandez, thinking that ball might have been caught, speeds up again and now goes on his way to second base. He would have been safe anyway. And Foster hits it high in the air to deep center field. Going back is Murphy, and that ball is over the wall. A 3-run home run by George Foster. And the Mets lead 9-1.
The crowd waiting for a curtain call from Foster, and here he comes. George now has driven in 25 runs in the last 22 games, including 7 homers. This ball just kept carrying. Murphy looked a couple of times. He couldn't believe it was going to go out, and it went right over dead center field. That's a long way in this ballpark.
And it hit the flagpole, and straightaway 3 base hits, and they leave none. And the score at the end of 5, it is the Mets 9 and the Atlanta Braves 1. Now here's a word from the good olds guys.
4 base hits, no errors, and nobody left. And after 6.5, it's 9-7 New York. We'll be right back right after this word. Rip to right. This is going to be at least 2. You talk about in a groove. Keith Hernandez is locked in, brother.
His second double of the game, his 3rd hit of the afternoon. Hernandez has already driven in 2 runs and scored 1. And here's a tough left-handed pitcher, and say hello. I mean, he just pulls this ball down the line with some kind of authority. When Keith is going as well as he's going right now, it makes no difference whether there's a left-hander or a right-hander out there.
And you said,
let's look at it again. Zuvella way in the hole, and that ball was a rainbow. Took a long time to get there. And Keith waiting until Zuvella released the ball, put his head down and chugged over to third base to beat the relay back from Perry. Let's see if Perry's foot's on the bag.
Looked like he pulled it off, didn't he?
Yep.
But it is. And they got him. Factor. Ball hit well to center. Murphy back. Can't get it. Carter's going to walk home. Strawberry may try to score. Here he comes. And the relay throw is dropped. 5 RBIs for Foster. Mets lead it 11-7.
Foster now 3 for 3 with a single, a double, a home run, a walk. He has scored 2 runs and driven in 5. George has driven in 27 runs now in the last 23 ball games. Murphy thought he had a chance to get that ball, but Foster really drove it, and it just went right over his head. They might have had a play on Strawberry had Zuvella not bobbled the relay throw.
As a matter of fact, Steve, Buddy Harrelson was holding up Darrell at third base, and Darrell ran through the through the stop sign. I'll get that right if I keep on this year. Base hit center field. Johnson will score. It's now 13-7 Mets. They had not let up. Talk about going for the throat. They have certainly done that against these Braves all season long.
4th run off Terry Forster in this inning. He didn't hit it hard, but he hit it where they weren't.
Oh, 6-4 for Len Dykstra, but the Mets score 4 more times. On 4 hits, there was 1 error and 1 left. And after 7, it's 13-7 New York.
Popped up and playable in the infield. Howard Johnson calling. Santana calls him off, and the game is over. The New York Mets have pulled temporarily into a tie with the St. Louis Cardinals for first place in the National League East, pending the outcome of the Cardinal game at Los Angeles later today. And the Mets have continued to thump the Atlanta Braves, winning this one 15-10. Terry Leach starts and wins it for the Mets. He's 1-0, and the loser, Pascual Perez of Atlanta, is 1-8 on the year. Tim and I'll be back to wrap it up for you, so stay with us. Ralph will follow with Kiner's Corner, and we'll return to Shea right after this for Michelob Light.
Go behind Danny Cox. Cardinals beat the Giants 6-3, so the Mets are now 2 games behind first place St. Louis. Out at Shea last night, Mets were cooled off by the Reds, losing 5-1. This after scoring the 31 runs within 2 ball games. What a performance, though, by Sid Fernandez. Spectacular over 6 innings. He finished with a career high of 13 strikeouts and did not allow a hit until Dave Concepcion led off the 7th by putting one high and far. First hit of the game for the Reds, start of a 3-run 7th inning. And Gary Reedus added to the lead in the 8th. Here's Reedus putting it out, his 5th homer of the season, making it 5-0. Now, the wackiest play of the night. Bases loaded. Cedeno with the hit. 1 run scores, but Dave Parker held up a third off the throw by Foster. Watched the catcher, Gary Carter. Buddy Bella was on his way from second to third. Realized a little bit too late, so Carter able to tag Parker, then throws to second to get Bell. Wacky double play, as I said. Mario Soto going all the way to stop a personal 8-game losing streak. Soto now 9 up, 11 down. Tonight, left-hander Tom Browning will go for the Reds. Ron Darling 10 up, 2 down for the Mets. KC.
The Mets, he has a record of 14-3, an earned run average of 1.67. That leads Major League Baseball pitchers. He has walked just 43, struck out 157. That also leads Major League pitchers. He has and a drive to right center. It could be extra bases. It will be extra bases. It will be a 3-base hit. Backman tripling into right center field.
I'll tell you, had the second baseman, Bill Dorn, juggle that ball, Buddy Harrelson had an idea about sending Backman. This ball rolling to the very deep part of the ballpark, and you see that little juggle by center fielder Kevin Bass, and Buddy actually held up Wally Backman late at third base, and that's what a third base.
3-2 pitch and a base hit. So Keith Hernandez comes through once again, and the Mets have a tie ball game.
Well, the man's a hitter. That's all there is to it. 4 of the first 5 pitches to run the count 3-2 were split-finger fastballs, and then Scott thought he'd sneak one by him. Mr. Hernandez looked at Mark Bailey and said, "I'll handle this one, Mark."
So the game tied at 1 as Keith gets a run batted in, scoring Wally Backman. And the batter for the Mets will be Gary Carter. Hernandez
Line drive, base hit, left center. Dykstra may try to go to third, but no, sir. Good play by Bass. Second consecutive hit for Backman.
Backman gets on top of this one, drills it into left center field, but Bass over to cut it off, and Dykstra wisely holding it second. So Backman now 2 for 2 in this game with 2
You gotta
strikes.
think about it, huh? There go the runners. Line drive, base hit, right field. Dykstra will score. And the Mets had their first lead in 4 days, 2-1.
I'll tell you, you give Hernandez enough chances that he's going to get you. There the runners go, and Keith pulls the pitch right down into right field. No trouble at all for Dykstra to score from second, and it allows Backman to get over to third. So a runner now at third base on the base hit by Hernandez. The Mets leading 2-1. And the batter coming up is Gary Carter.
I'll tell you,
In those days, though, they went the complete game.
That's true. Hernandez with a great stop. And Doctor covers, and there's one away. Keith does it again.
Well, they should call him the cat because he can really come up with the ball and keep his balance and then make the throw. So Keith again taking another base hit away. Amazing first baseman with that glove.
And what a series he had a couple of weeks ago in Houston against these Astros. Got him with the high heater. Strikeout number 5 for Dwight Gooden. A walk and 1 left here in the 5th inning for Houston. After 4 1/2, it's 2-1 New York. We're back at Shea after this for Metropolitan Life. I doubt that, seriously.
Houston hasn't been drawing very well. Maybe he had to buy his home. The 2-2 pitch. And this one drilled to left. It's way back. Going. It is gone. Goodbye. A 3-run home run by Gary Carter.
Well, so much for not having hit a home run in a month. Carter just took care of that with number 12 of the year. And this crowd, another great crowd at Shea, standing and cheering in unison, waiting for Gary to come out. All right.
That's leading by a score of 5-1. And Carter with his 12th home run of the year. That was also the 12th home run given up by Mike Scott.
Boy, that ball right in his wheelhouse, about belt high over the plate, and Gary took care of it in fine fashion. I mean, it got out of here in a hurry, and it was hit high on top of that. He really powered that ball, and that has to make him feel good, battling that sore right knee and all.
And the score at the end of 5, it's the Mets 5 and Houston 1. Now here's a word from the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages.
Glenn has 5 home runs overall, and he rips this one to right center. Dykstra. Did he make the catch? No, sir. And he hit that fence hard. Strawberry retrieving the ball, and Davis may try for an inside the Parker. The throw safe at home. Inside the park home run for Glenn Davis. And Lynn Dykstra is hurt in center field. Looks like he hit his head on the fence, Steve.
Yeah, and down at the base of the wall there is no give. And Strawberry and Hernandez are out there. They're trying to get him to stay down, which is a good thing to do when someone possibly has a head injury. He hit on the warning track diving for the ball and slid on the gravel surface into the base of the fence. Up high on the fence, you've got some give, but down along the base, it is extremely hard. And it looked like he just hit his head sliding in there.
Dykstra put his left hand up to his right ear and looked at it as though he felt like it may be bleeding. So I would think the impact was on the right side of his head.
Davis really drove this ball to almost the deepest part of the park. Now look at Lenny try for it valiantly right over the top of his glove, and then he slides into the wall. Ooh, his hand hit first and then his head. And he is obviously stunned. It looked like he looked up for a second, but then his head went right back down to the ground as if he had no idea where he was. A valiant effort. And oh man. You heard the crowd's reaction as what you just saw at home was shown on the Diamond Vision screen here. Lenny shaking it off, and apparently his neck and shoulder and head seem to be all right. I don't know whether he's going to stay in the ball game or not, though.
One more look at it.
He lost his footing a little bit at the last minute. He stumbled, and that's what caused him to fall, and it looked as if he fell. It's one thing if you dive and you're under control, but when you're out of control and you go down, you don't have an ability to protect yourself. But apparently he's all right. Let's look at it in regular speed rather than in slow motion, and you can see how hard he hit. I mean, he stopped instantly.
Yes, sir. And it was the right side of his head. Lenny appears to be certainly dazed. His right shoulder. That was a straw 3 right there.
Straw 3. Watch Big Johnny almost punches him out. Well, we didn't see it. Close pitch.
Well hit to right. This might be out of here, and it is. Home run, Mark Bailey. Second home run of the inning, and now the score is 5-3 New York. Home run number 6 for Mark Bailey.
Now has a 5-game hitting streak over which he's hit over 300. And I mean, he got all of this one.
He popped that one. Whew. Here's the gap. 2 runs on 2 hits and none left. After 6.5, it's 5-3 New York. Now here's a word from Garcia Vega. And 1 left. And at the end of 7, it's 6-3 New York. We'll be right back right after this word from Mayer. He did that opening day against the Cardinals. Fastball got him. 6th strikeout for Dwight Gooden. And now Jerry Mumphrey arguing with John McSherry. The Astros fail to score. No runs, a hit, and 1 left.
Well, John, listen to him a little. New York as we go to the 9th here at Shea after this for Nissan. And he skies this one to short right. Backman out on the edge of the grass, and it could be history. A 1-2-3 9th inning, and Dwight Gooden picks up his 9th complete game of the year. His record now 15-3, and in his last 12 starts, the doctor is 9-0. The Mets break their 3-game losing streak, taking the first of this series against Houston by the score of 6-3. The losing pitcher is Mike Scott, who is 9-5 on the year. Tim and I will be back to wrap it up for you. Stay tuned for Ralph and Kiner's Corner to follow the ball game. We'll be back at Shea after this word for Bud Light. Superior height takes it, and the inning is finally over. But 4 runs score on 4 base hits, including a 3-run home run by Bill Doran. It's 4-4 as we go to the bottom. Good bunt down the first baseline. Will be a tough play, and he throws it away. Johnson goes to third. Dykstra to second. Before the right fielder Mumphrey retrieves the ball, it'll be an error, and the second one of the ball game on first baseman Glenn Davis. The 3rd error on Houston overall. Well, the sacrifice is successful.
How successful is it? Well, it's very successful. And you can go to second on a sacrifice. A perfect bunt by Dykstra. And Glenn Davis feels it without a problem. Now he just overs it to second baseman.
Ground ball up the middle past to Pino, but a play made by Doran. Safe. And an argument going on now as both the Pino and Ashby can't believe it. Lillis coming out. The play was made by Dickie Thon, not Bill Doran. But it's 5-4 New York, and Lillis is having a hard time restraining Frank DePino.
Well, Frank DePino, that's his run, and this is his ball game, and the W of the L goes on his side. Second, that is not a good base running play. Now watch Don. A high throw, Ashby blocking home plate, but Johnson comes inside Ashby. He's out. He tagged him high, and his feet were not there. My call, he's out. What's your call?
I'm not sure whether he tagged him or not. Dykstra at second, Hernandez at first, still one away. Yeah, well hit to right field. Mumphrey won't catch up with this one. Dykstra will score.
Hernandez.
Carter going to third. 2 runs are in. The Mets now lead it 7-4 on a triple and 2 RBIs by Gary Carter. His second triple of the year. And Carter now with 46 RBIs.
Well, the crowd here at Shea waving around their adult T-shirts. It's the only way for adults to act. I love it. Fastball away, line drive down the right field line. And Mumphrey was playing Carter way into right center field. Dykstra scores easily, as does Hernandez. Buddy Harrelson is in the on-deck circle of the Houston Astros. He came all the way home to wave Keith Hernandez home.
But you realize elastic emotions. Boy, that's a good way to put it. You have to have elastic emotions. Well hit to left. A line drive deep and out of here. Ray Knight, a 3-run home run, and it is now 10-4 New York. And the 50,000 plus are loving it.
To tell everybody at home that those shirts were not taken off here now. They were given to everybody before the ball game. I don't think I've ever seen it. This looks like a Miami Dolphin football game.
Well, some years ago in the mid-70s, the Pittsburgh Steelers had the terrible towel that they would wave during football games in Pittsburgh.
Well, a slider on the inside part, and it just kind of was lazy right in that hitting zone, and Ray Knight hit that rope to left field. I mean, he scalded that ball.
4th home run for Knight, and he has now driven in 21 runs. And Frank DePino's out of the ball game. He eighth inning, picks up a strikeout, and the Mets still leading it in the middle of the 8th, rather comfortably at the moment. Get rid of it in a hurry. So for the 3rd time tonight, the Mets start the inning with an error, and Backman follows with a single to right field. Dykstra will hold at second base as Jones got to the ball quickly. And it's 1st and 2nd with nobody out.
I think it's
for 4. As you see, 2 singles and a big 2-run triple. Ripped down the line, fair ball. 1 run will score. Backman heading for 3rd. Carter going into 2nd. And it's 11-4 with runners now at 2nd and 3rd. Carter picks up his 3rd RBI of the game.
Gary Carter's 3rd 4-hit game of the year and his 13th of his remarkable career. A changeup ripped down the left field line, just fair. That is RBI number 47 for Carter, and his 3rd of the ball game.
but is 0 for 3. Grounded to third, and it just eats Garner alive. Another run scores. Carter to third. And we'll see how they score it as runners are at first and third with still only one away.
Man, it's dangerous out there. The Astros have committed 4 errors, and this could very well be a hit. Could easily be scored a base hit. We'll see how they score it. Ball really took a nasty hop. Watch this. Eats him up, as Steve said. Phil just froze on that ball. Had he charged it, he'd have a
and a base hit down the right field line. Carter scores. Foster headed for third. Knight will cruise into second as George is being held at third. It's 13-4.
I do like weekends.
Yeah. Ray Knight now with 4 RBIs on the night. Ray's 10th double of the year, and he has 22 ribbies.
Well, this is a good piece of hitting by Ray right there. After the home run his last time up, he just hits the ball down the right field line, goes with the pitch.
Still only one away, runners at second and third. And he rips one down the line for a base hit. 2 runs will score. Paciorek going to second. 15-4 New York.
I'll guarantee you Bill Latham is in the clubhouse right now saying, please, guys, save some of those hits for game 2.
5th hit and 4th run off Mike Madden.
Another good piece of hitting by Paciorek. Line drive, right field line. 2 RBIs for Tom. 15-4 now. Mets have scored 11 runs in the last 2 innings.
Rafael Santana back up the middle, base hit. Here comes Paciorek around third. He's being waved home. No, he's held. And Santana's hung up. Paciorek now breaking for the plate. And Garner fell down. They've still got Santana in a rundown as Paciorek scores. Raffy now tagged out. So Garner trying to turn and fire home fell. Paciorek scores. John McMullen with a very depressed look on his face.
Well, there's a saying in baseball, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you look. And the Astros have certainly not looked good in tonight's game, especially the last 2 innings. Strong throw by Bass. Now Garner cuts it off. They've got Santana in the rundown. The throw to Paciorek never occurred, and now Santana's tagged out. You can only lose 1 game
in a row. The Mets score 6 runs. And they now lead 16-4 as we go to the 9th after this for Manufacturers Hanover. Fun to come here anytime, but particularly when it's packed. Jesse Orozco works the final 2 innings, striking out 3. As Houston leaves 2 aboard here in the 9th inning and fails to score. The Mets pound the Houston Astros in the first of this doubleheader, 16-4. Roger McDowell is the winning pitcher. He is now 6-4 on the year. And Frank DePino of Houston takes the loss. He is 1-6 on the year. Tim and I'll be back to wrap it up for you. A news update follows after this word from Nissan. Sharply hit the first. Hernandez sucks it up and goes to second, and the game is over. The Mets have swept their second doubleheader of the year. They have played 3 and lost only 1 ball game, and they have taken the first 3 games of this 4-game set against the Houston Astros, winning the nightcap here 7-3. Jesse Orozco pitches 1 2/3 innings in relief of young Bill Latham to pick up his 10th save, and Bill Latham is 1-1, and here is his reaction.
Pretty cool character. He's a little too calm for his first major league win, isn't he?
Well, he probably knew they had him all the way.
People who graduate from Auburn are very highly intelligent. They take a calm approach to everything.
Well, he certainly did there.
Yeah.
Charles Kerfeld, in his first major league start for the Houston Astros, is the loser in the ball game, having given up 6 runs through the first 3 1/3. So the Mets sweep it 16-4 in the first game, 7-3 in the nightcap. Tim and I'll be right back to wrap it up for you. Ralph standing by.
His first game, then this is some of what you were looking at.
Ripped down the line, fair ball. And he rips one down the line for a base hit. 2 runs will score. Pachorik going to second.
As the Mets rip 15 base hits on the way to a 16-4 romp.
Then in the nightcap, the view from that mound back there looked completely different, especially for Mets rookie left-hander Bill Latham.
The 24-year-old kid from Birmingham struck out 4 in 7 1/3 innings before giving way to Jesse Orozco, who preserved Latham's first major league win, picking up his 10th save in the process. Check out Latham's reaction to this final out. And while we're at it, let's check out the standings. The Mets just 2.5 games behind the Cardinals, and like Edmund Hillary, climbing right here on Channel 9.
Dykstra in center and Strawberry at right. Howard Johnson, Raphael's catching. There is Rick Aguilera, 3-3. Started the season in the minor leagues at Tidewater in the International League. There was some question as to whether or not he'd be able to start tonight because of poor audition.
Well, he's had some tenderness in his right elbow, really his forearm, for about the last 3 starts, and I'm concerned about it. And I have another pitcher, Terry Leach, standing by in case he can't go. But I have a good feeling he's going to be able to make it.
Now, who is going to make that decision, you or somebody else or Aguilera himself?
Well, I know Aggie well enough to know that if it doesn't fall off, he's going to want to pitch this ball game. But I'll have Mel Stottlemyre standing by with him, and if he complains or doesn't look like he has any zip on the ball, I'll scratch him.
And obviously, Jim, he didn't do very much complaining.
Can produce at the opportune moment.
Now, the point is, with Montreal, there is not any one man carrying this team as Raines strikes out. So Aguilera, who was a big question mark prior to the game. In fact, this morning in the game story in the New York Times, they had him scratched.
You see it, just a little slider that Raines thinks is a fastball.
3-2 pitch to him is called strike 3. So Raines and Washington gone on strike.
Excuse me, Al, if strikeouts are any indication how your arm feels, Aguilera's arm feels great there. A fastball right on the outside corner. UL Washington knew it was a strike.
All the rest, he can make it stick with the owners.
Dykstra hits it in the gap toward left center field, and with the outfield very shallow, it rolls all the way to the fence. And Dykstra can motor around second. They will hold him there, though, as the throw comes in.
That kid is amazing. Jim and I stood at the batting cage with Keith Hernandez. He's a little fella. You don't think he's going to hit it as far as he does, as he just did. As you look at the hit again, he truly catalyzes a baseball team, and he's done that for the Mets.
Well, he certainly has, and we talked about the way they've scored runs in July. One of the reasons for Hernandez, but you got to get somebody on.
Backman, a number of weeks back, was hitting a look at the butt.
He bunts and Smith can't feel it, and everybody is safe. So Wally Backman legging it safely to first base, and the Mets are in business at the outset with runners at first and third and nobody out.
Well, Backman here just getting Dykstra to third base. Of course, he has excellent speed, and Smith knows that. Has to rush to make the play, can't come up with it.
We'll wait to see how they score it as Hernandez comes up. He's had a great month. Up and down, the great April, the lousy May and June, and 4-11 in July, which is top
Only once from Puerto Rico, saying, what happened to your windup?
Hernandez rips it down the line and left, and that is a fair ball. The Mets take a 1-0 lead, and maybe 2 as they are waving Backman in, and
fastball out over the plate.
He goes right with the pitch, and that's why he is such a fine hitter.
Well, that's the kind of pitch, Howard. If you try to pull it, you hit a ground ball to second, you get a run in, but you have 2 outs in the inning because it's a double play ball.
So a man you can move around and lines it right back to Smith, who's angry that he botched the bunt and fires it down to the ground in disgust. So he misses the easy play and makes the hard one.
Just a good fastball. Hits it not that hard, but right at him. It's kind of a reflex play.
And it's 2-0. Back after this message and a word from our local stations. Expos and the Mets. Gary Carter going to New York. The Expos got those men, and that is how they are faring right now. 3 of them with a big club, and the other Floyd Humans had been up briefly and is pitching now at Indianapolis again. And there are the numbers for Gary Carter, as it has turned.
He's got a good swing, quick bat. Watch him.
Hits that one on a hop, and Backman gets a break because the mound floated up and throws him out. If that ball doesn't hit the sloping part of the mound, it probably goes through. But it takes a nice, convenient hop, nice enough for Backman to get there.
Backman to his right. As you said, Al, if the ball doesn't come up, the ball's into center field. Knows he has plenty of time, sets his feet. A lot of times it just takes your mind off maybe the game and makes you feel less distracted.
Good breaking pitch. On 0-2 to strike him out, and that's 4 for Aguilera.
Well, he's kept the ball down. He's changed speeds. A little bit off his slider. Again, when you see that picture, it's not where
we're in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Strawberry goes, and he hits it into left field for a base hit. And since Strawberry was going, he can move all the way to third as the throw comes into second. So a nice job by Danny Heath to keep fighting off pitches and stay alive. And he's rewarded with a single to left.
Well, it's defensive hitting, but he knows he can't go out and try to hit the long ball. Just looks like a palm ball away, just serves it to left.
Third baseman.
And he hits it into shallow center field, and Winningham will have to play it on a hop, and it's 3-0. So Johnson with a single to center, and the Mets lead 3-0 with 2 out in the 6th.
Well, Johnson tries to break it open, tries to go out and get a ball on the outside part of the plate and pull it, hits it right off the end of the bat, loops it into center field.
As Branch Rickey always said, luck is the residue of design.
The Mets with a victory. Popped up. The infield fly rule is in effect. So it doesn't matter who makes the catch, and it's Santana. 2 down. A big out. Now, UL Washington is due up. Let's see.
Dawson on deck. He's 7 for 14 against Orozco.
And that's popped up in foul ground, and Carter comes over, has it playing, makes the catch. Great job by Orozco, and as the Expos return to side in the 8th. It's still 3-0 New York, and we'll be back after this from our local station. Close the door. Save it for the Mets. They'll pick up half a game on the idle Cardinals. Now trailed by 3 in the East. Montreal in third place, 5 back. Another look at the game-ending strikeout.
We talked about that backdoor slider. Comes around the outside part of the plate. Wolford can't even get the bat off his shoulder.
3 runs, 5 9 hits and no errors for the Mets. 2 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error for the Expos. And we'll be back at Shea Stadium after this. Shea Stadium in New York. In the first inning, Keith Hernandez drove in 2 runs with a double to get the Mets off and running, and they never looked back. In the 6th inning, what turned out to be the difference in the game. 2-out singles by Strawberry, Heath, and Johnson made it 3-0. Wallach hit a 2-out home run in the 9th inning, and that's the way it ended, with the Mets beating the Expos 3-2. We'll be back.
Would follow, and the Mets lead 2-0. Here comes Wally, and now we look at Aguilera. This guy is really pitching well. Gives up just 3 hits in 7 1/3 innings tonight. Strikes out 4, including UL Washington right there. Now, what turns out to be the game winner, you're going to see it right here. This is Howard Johnson in the 6th inning. Little bloop to center field. This thing going to fall in right there. Scores Darryl Strawberry. Expos scored 2 in the 9th, but the Mets win 3-2. Now 3 games behind the Cardinals. Well,
Gary looking right out at Bill Gullickson.
Well, that really had to be a purpose pitch right there. Look at it again. No balls, 2 strikes, and this ball right over the top of his head. And Gullickson has outstanding control. He has walked only 26 batters in 98 innings coming in. Strikeouts for Dwight Gooden, and here comes Bill Gullickson.
Well, so far, Carter hasn't even turned his head to acknowledge Gullickson getting in the box.
He can't afford to make it obvious.
One thing about being a catcher, though, with that mask on, you can say some things, and few people can tell that you're talking. Oh, hello, now Gooden's going to get warned.
There it is. See, and that's the trouble with that rule. The guy that does it first gets away with it.
Gullickson's hot. He says something to Carter. Frank Pulley gets between them.
Now they're going to warn the umpires, and that means that anybody else that throws will be ejected from the ball game along with the manager. But that rule is all wrong. The first guy gets away with it.
I agree 100%. And the umpires are anticipating it. Here's the pitch to Carter.
Now he gets away with this. That's a beanball right here. Now Gooden, who has to protect his own people, he gets the warning. The rule's backwards.
The first
you know what
guy,
you should do with that rule, Steve? With that rule in effect, you go out and throw it first time. You knock somebody down the first batter.
You can hit somebody if you want to, and you won't even get away.
Look at this.
Watch where the ball starts out and finishes up. Dawson thought that pitch was a little high.
2 strikes to count. And another one. Dawson, 3 curveballs, and out of there. A 1-2-3 inning, strikeout number 8, and the score at the end of 5.5 innings. The Expos nothing, the Mets nothing. Now here's a word from Budweiser for Montreal. Comes in with a record of 10-6. There goes the runner. A pitch out. A great job by Hernandez. He hits it out to short, a base hit. What a play by Hernandez, and he is called out at first. How could he be out? Boy, Hernandez is hot, and Eric Gregg calls him out at first base, and there was interference at home plate on that play. Let's see what happened.
I think Frank Pulley's calling him out for being out of the batter's box. Hernandez is claiming that he was interfered on. Now we got another argument going. Buddy Harrelson and Davey Johnson trying to keep Hernandez in the ball game, first and foremost. Frank Pulley came down the line and made a call as if to say that Hernandez was out, regardless of the call at first base.
Well, we'll have to look at it again to tell, but Hernandez got it through the bat at the ball, and this is legal. You can do this.
That's right, and he's not out of the batter's box.
Now, after hitting the ball, he goes across the plate.
Mike Fitzgerald had no idea where the ball was, and Hernandez was safe at first on top of it. Look at him throw this bat at the ball. Now Fitzgerald doesn't know where the ball is. Hubie Brooks was breaking for second, so he's got to come back. He throws over to Dreesen, and Hernandez beats the throw, but Eric Gregg called him out.
So that's the sequence of the play in this ball game that has seen an umpire hit by a batted ball and the batter getting the credit for a base hit.
On top of everything else, Ralph, they're making Wally Backman go back to first base because the call apparently was not out at first base.
But out of the batter's box.
Out of the batter's box.
He's not out of the batter's box now.
Nope, not until after he hits the ball by throwing the bat at it, and then his foot came down.
And he was not out of the batter's box when that bat struck the ball, and that's what you look at. And third, Backman at third, Strawberry at first base. 2 men out. Fastball line to left field, a base hit. Backman scores and the Mets lead 1-0. The strategy fails.
Well, this capacity crowd brought to its feet by George Foster, who answers the call after the intentional pass to Strawberry. Fastball about thigh high, and George takes care of it to drive in the first run of the ball game, 1-0 New York. Foster's 53rd RBI of the year. And you got to believe, though, Ralph, under the circumstances that
Wimmer left on base, and the score at the end of 6. The Mets won, the Montreal Expos nothing. Now here's the 5th.
Breaking ball got him. 9th strikeout for Gooden. I'm telling you, this is almost surpassing Lord Charles right here. Hubie Brooks bending out of the way, and he knew it. He just turned and went to the dugout. Look at the pitches in the innings. 14 in the 5th and 21 in the 4th, the highest totals. But look at the total between strikes and balls. 58-21, almost 3 times as many strikes as balls.
Tuesday night, more headlines made in New York. More magic from the amazing young Met, Dwight Gooden. In extending his winning streak to a club record-tying 10 games, the 20-year-old Gooden shut out Montreal 2-0, allowing him just 5 hits, completing his 10th game of the year, striking out 10 Expos along the way, winning his 16th against just 3 losses this year. Gooden now leads the majors in strikeouts with 173 and in runs allowed per 9 innings, a miserly 1.65. But his Mets still 3 games behind Eastern Division leading St. Louis. That's because the Cardinals pounded the Cubs.
2 wins in a row over the Montreal Expos thanks to another star-studded, record-setting performance by Dwight Gooden. Gooden, considered by many to be the equal of Tom Seaver at comparative stages of their careers, tossed a 5-hit shutout as the Mets took a 2-0 decision at Shea Stadium last night. Gooden came out smoking, letting it fly. Tim Raines with a fastball in the top of the 1st. Vance Law takes a seat on the curveball. Andre Dawson will complete the threesome with some heat as he takes a seat as Gooden strikes out the side. Bottom of the 6th, Mets got all the runs that Gooden would need as George Foster lashed a single off of loser Bill Gullickson, scoring Wally Backman. Moved to the top of the 8th. Expos put runners at 1st and 3rd with 2 outs. A wicked curveball sets Law down, 1 of 10 strikeouts for Gooden as he wins his 10th straight game, tying the club record set by Mr. Seaver back in 1969. He's 16-3 overall, that being Dwight Gooden this year. Finally, again, Mets win it 2-0. There was another side of last night's game that cannot be overlooked. A couple of brushback pitches that put tempers on edge. Bill Gullickson fired an 0-2 pitch at Gary Carter's head in the bottom of the 4th inning. There is some bad blood between Carter and his former mates, and this incident brought that point to light.
We're out here to play baseball, and I mean, they were my ex-teammates, and I felt that, you know, there was something there before, and if it means going out there and just playing baseball and being professional about it, that's one thing. But when it means trying to throw at somebody and possibly end their career if that ball were to hit me in the head, you know, I don't think that's called for. So in that regard, I think it psyched up the rest of the team.
Dwight Gooden retaliated for Carter in the top of the 5th when he fired a pitch at Gullickson's head. Gooden and the Mets received a stern warning from home plate umpire Frank Pulley, but the messages were already delivered, and they were nasty ones, to say the least. The 2 teams close out their 3-game series at Shea Stadium this afternoon. Hopefully no more of that inside, high-at-the-head pitching stuff. Pitching matchups for that game, Ed Lynch for the Mets, Dan Schatzeder for the Expos.
But they've also had days where they just draw the crowds because good baseball. One of those days last night. There's a ground ball. Great play by Hernandez. To second for 1 to first. Double play. Outstanding play by Keith Hernandez.
Boy, you talk about a quality double play. Hernandez diving for this play. Schatzeder not bunting. Now Gardenhire throwing to the spot first base. And Lynch there, and he's reaching for the bag. And Ed Lynch shows his enthusiasm. some kind of double play turned right there.
And we'll be back right after these messages.
Well, this is hard ball.
All right. All right. Bring it to oh boy. That was inevitable. He just missed him and he got him there. Home run for Gary Carter. Gary Carter looked too comfortable at home plate the last 2 times up.
Yeah, he really did. And that's a good point, Fran. And he also just missed that 3-2 fastball right before that. And the one he hit is actually ball 4. Home run number 13 for Gary Carter on what would have been ball 4. And if you think he is not happy about that home run, revenge is sweet, my friend.
Oh, boy, it is. And Gary Carter tattooed that ball.
Watch his high fastball, but not for long. Out of the strike zone, up right around his neck. Man, I mean, this ball was smoked. Boy, what a good turn on that ball. Wow. See him exhale with that blowing out, and that ball didn't have a chance to blow out. But when you see a hitter exhale like that, he's putting all his power into it.
Well, he Tommy hawked that ball. Wow. So, Gary Carter.
The squeeze is on. He bunts. The run will score. The game is wild throw. Here's another run going to score. And another round holds up. The Cubs have taken the lead. The old squeeze play, perfectly executed. Hernandez had no player to plate. World thinking somebody would cover first. Unfortunately for the Cubs, he either hit Spire, I think he hit Spire, or the ball would have rolled in the right field, and another man would have scored. Yeah, it was Spire he hit.
Harry, it was a perfect throw to first base, but Wally Backman wasn't covering first. Once again, Keith Hernandez throws to a base where there's no play. It's Wally Backman's fault. The Cubs go on top, and that ball should have been
perfectly. He pushed it between the pitcher and the first baseman. Now the pitch to the right-hand hitter. Squeezes on. He bunts in the air for a double play. Holy cow. Unassisted double play. They're going to try to squeeze another one in. But the Cubs get 2 runs. 2 hits. 1 error, 1 left. At the end of 8, the Cubs lead 4-3. The pitch. Ground ball. Hurry up. The peg. He beat it out. The ball was in just the left to say, and it forced Spire to come a long way to pick the ball up.
Backman runs very well. He slices this ball inside, outs it. No chance to get him. Spire does everything he can do. Backman beats it easily, and now Keith Hernandez does get his shot.
No for the Cubs, and he's been pitching very well. Well, that hits it. That'll tie up the ball game. In deep into the right field corner. Here comes Backman. He'll score easily. The throw to the plate not in time. Hernandez doubled down the right field line. Into the corner against the defense, which means that Smitty got the ball inside when he wanted to pitch it outside.
It's a slider, a ball he can pull, and pull it he does. Poetic justice as far as the Mets are concerned. Hernandez's error got the Cubs on top. Hernandez's double gets the Mets even.
Tough way to make a living. All tied up at 4. Look at those hit totals. The pitch to Howard Johnson. A high fly ball. Deep right field, way back, might be near the wall. It is a home run. Howard Johnson. It's a 1-1 pitch into the right center field pavilion. And I think he'll have that job regularly now for at least a little while again.
It's his 7th home run, his 28th RBI. A happy Met dugout. Watch it one more time. Frazier gets it over the inner portion of the plate, and Johnson goes against the wind and drives it out of here.
That's the second home. That's it. Easy fly ball. And the Mets have really won a big one for them and a tough one for the Cubs. 1, 2, 3, nothing across. The totals on the ball game will be 5 runs, 15 hits, 3 errors. Oresco, the winner, now 3 and 4. McDowell gets the save. Number 9. For the Cubs, 4 runs, 5 hits, 1 error. The loser is George Frazier. His record now is 6 and 5. A tough one to lose. The big play was the wild throw by Hernandez. It was only worth 1 run when it might have been 3 had it not hit the man. Okay, we're in a hurry because of the time. With Steve Stone, Harry Carey from Wrigley Field, wishing you all a very pleasant good evening.
Ball hit well to left. This ball might drop, and it does. Gooden took that wide turn. He barely touched first base. Hebner will check with first base umpire Terry Tata. Gooden almost went around the bag looking at the ball.
And that's not unusual for a hitter. When you see a ball hit like this, you watch it to see whether or not it's going to be caught, and you can miss first base. You usually arrive at first base about the time the ball is going to be caught or not caught. But Gooden goes on down to second with a double, needs 1 more to tie Ron Darling.
Second hit of the game for the Mets, and their first extra fly ball breaks back. Lines it to left center field, and excuse me swing puts the Mets on top 1-0. Got to be irritating for a pitcher, but not for a hitter.
Well, the line drive hit by Pachorik caught, but this one blooped into left field. And Hernandez gets a cheap one, but he gets an RBI. He has the league lead.
Lines to left right center. Backman's going to score. Hernandez will score. Carter's going to have himself a double. The throw home. Safe at home. Boy, I'll tell you, they got that ball in a hurry. I thought Hernandez was going to score easily, and they had a play on him. Nonetheless, 3-0 New York.
Well, Gary Carter came into this game hitting .361 against Cub pitching this year, in spite of going 1 for 9 before this ball game in this series. But here he gets his second hit, and he drives in 2 big runs for the Mets as Hernandez comes in to score behind Wally Backman.
Hernandez's left shoe came off rest to the last 2 days when the gale was blowing in. Ground ball up the middle. Gardenhire got him at first base. What a play by Gardenhire and Hernandez. Brother.
Well, Ronnie filling in for Rafael Santana today to give Santana a rest, and this is a big league play at shortstop regardless of who's playing there. That ball's behind him. Gardenhire, fully extended, now is able to get himself together and makes a good enough throw, even though it short hops Hernandez, for Keith to be able to come up with it. Boy, he just did get that ball in the webbing. And then Keith completes the play with a nice pick on the short hop at the other end. Fly ball, center field, and this should be the ball game as Dykstra awaits it, and the Mets win it. Dwight Gooden has set a new New York Mets team record with his 11th consecutive victory. It is also his 11th complete game of the year. And in the last 14 games, Gooden now 11-0 with 3 no decisions. His league-leading ERA will drop to 1.57. As the doctor does it again, and the Mets have taken 2 of the first 3 games of this 4-game series against Chicago. Ralph and I will be back to wrap it up. Stay with us here from Wrigley. The Mets win it 4-1 behind the doctor. Now here's a word from Busch Beer.
You see, Seaver held the Mets club record of 10 consecutive wins. Today, Dwight Gooden got his 11th consecutive victory. The Mets down the Cubs 4-1, and for that we go out to the Midwest, Wrigley Field in Chicago. Top of the 3rd in this game. The Mets are leading 1-0. That's Gary Carter at the plate. Gary Carter with a line drive into right center field. This will go all the way to the wall. Wally Bachman will come in to score easily. Here comes Keith Hernandez. Turn it on, Keith. Here comes a throw to the plate. Safe at home. It's 3-0, the New York Mets with a lead. Dwight Gooden would pick up his 11th straight win, his 17th win of the year, 6 strikeouts, good support in the field. Gardenhire, he robs Moreland. Throw to first, in time. The Cubs fall to the Mets, 4-1. Meanwhile, in Cincinnati, manager Pete Rose,
who broadcast his first game and so many of his victories, was Lindsey Nelson. With a moment of truth arriving right here, I'm going to give way to Lindsey Nelson for perhaps what might be outnumber 3 and a milestone victory for Tom Seaver. Lindsey, my pleasure.
Spencer, thank you very much. Nice
the Yankee owner's box.
Seaver is ready to work now to Don Baylor. And it's a high fly ball. It should be playable. Nichols is moving over. Nichols is there. The ball game is over. Seaver has won 300. He has become the 17th man in the history of baseball to win 300 games. Seaver will turn it loose now. A 40-year-old Terrific Tom Seaver. Look at the emotion spilling out all over. There's his family. And if you could hear him right now, his voice is up in such a high key, only the dogs can understand it.
Well, he's a 40-year-old man, but this is a game for kids. And that kid is a very, very happy individual. He has done what only 16 others have accomplished, and this crowd is still on its feet with cheers for Tom Seaver.
There he is. That's Nancy. That's his wife, Nancy Lynn. They were married in Jacksonville, Florida, the first year that he signed for professional baseball with the Mets. That's his daughter. That's his eldest daughter.
They're chanting Seaver, Seaver,
Seaver, they're chanting, and with his father, he gives a great deal of credit to his father for teaching him concentration, dedication, work. A happy young man from Fresno, California. He began with the Mets in April of 1967 with his first victory. And here at the sports shrine of Yankee Stadium in New York, he has made it 300.
Well, an exciting afternoon. This plaque will go out into the monument section of center field. His number's been retired.
Right now, who knows?
Well, right now, he is looking to pursue career victory number 301. He struck out 7. He walked 1, gave up 6 hits, had rough sledding in the 8th and 9th inning. In the 8th, with runners at first and third and 2 outs, he struck out Dave Winfield on a 3-2 pitch. In the 9th, Pasqua singled. He struck out Hasse. Randolph hit deep to right. Harold Bain, the time, coming out of the dugout to receive the cheers of his hometown fans, because Tom Seaver may be wearing that White Sox gray, but he has come home to win number 300.
A curtain call. Bill Necro, who may himself be reaching 300 very soon.
He patted Phil on the stomach. Hey, you get a little chubby there, old man.
Well, Phil's got 6 years on him. 295 for Necro. And Tom Seaver. An exciting day for all of us here. Exciting, as Bill said.
Now 2 walks in a row, and it brings up Darryl Strawberry.
I think Vitello right now is going through an intimidating stage when he faces guys like Hernandez, Carter, Strawberry, probably trying to make the perfect playing his ball game here, and also with an ear towards New York when negotiations are still underway.
And Strawberry drills at the right field. Moreland back. He can't get it, and it's out of the ballpark. And the Mets
Mets are leading 3-0 as Strawberry has a 3-run home run.
Well, Darryl Strawberry will take a big ballpark and make it a small ballpark with his power. Today, the wind blowing out, that ball would have been over most walls throughout the National League. That ball was scalded off the bat of Darryl Strawberry. Another look. Ball just jumps off his bat. I tell you, that was a line drive over the fence. The fence about 370 feet from home plate.
Strawberry, Eddie Lopez said he always came right back with the same pitch that the batter hit out. He says it surprised them.
And Eddie was a great one.
And a line shot into center field. Denier looking, it is going, and it is gone. Goodbye. Strawberry with his second home run and another landmarker.
I tell you, the ball just explodes off of Darryl Strawberry's bat. He hit that ball into the green seats in center field, and he's putting on a show here at Wrigley Field. Stay right in your seats because this guy has a couple more at-bats today. In 2 at-bats, he has 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. A Darryl Strawberry home run. You're getting another look at it right now into the bleachers. Oh, boy, I tell you, all kinds of talent.
13-14 for Darryl Strawberry. The Mets leading 4-0. And the batter coming up is Danny Heap.
If you're a Met fan, you keep in mind that the Mets have an outstanding club. This year they have Carter, Hernandez, Strawberry, Gooden, Foster. But they've got
Pitch to Strawberry.
Yeah, they're going to walk him. Jody Davis just signaled. Put him on. Interesting. The fans here in Chicago want to see him hit.
Yeah, they're booing. Darryl Strawberry, 2 for 2, 2 home runs. Home runs number 13 and 14. And then he was intentionally passed in the 5th inning and scored a run. Ball well hit to center field. It might be number 3 and is. Darryl Strawberry with his 3rd home run of the ball game. Mets lead it 7-1. The first Met to hit 3 home runs in the ball game was Jim Hickman way back when. Now Darryl Strawberry with his 3rd. He was walked intentionally in the 5th inning. Didn't get a shot at it. Well, and at this pace, Darryl Strawberry could well get another shot. Jay Horwitz, as always, right on cue. As is Strawberry right here. Man. Well, there's no doubt about this one. This one, Darryl got up for the windscreen. The other 2 he hit were line shots, and he almost hit it over the back of the lower bleachers. He is the 4th Met to hit 3 home runs in a ball game. A breaking ball for a strike. Jim Hickman did it in 1965 against the Cardinals, not called every one of them. Dave Kingman did it in Los Angeles in '76, and Claudel Washington in 1980 against the Dodgers. Thanks, Jay. All right. Darryl Strawberry, 5 RBIs, 4 runs scored, home runs number 13, 14, and 15 on the afternoon. What a day. Oh, 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left. Coming up in the 9th, Darryl Strawberry scheduled for the 3rd hitter. And Strawberry hit his 4th home run of the ball game. As you look at the strikeout double play one more time. I tell you, if I'm a pitcher right now and say, I'm going to give you my best stuff, if you can hit it, hit it. Not that you wouldn't say that normally. Strawberry with 3 home runs on the afternoon. Do it if he can do it. Fastball is low, 2-0. Then keep swinging. Fastball outside. We'll see if he does that. He's got to swing at the ball even if it's out of the strike zone. I guarantee you. And he takes a strike. You're taking a chance on the umpire calling that pitch a ball. Oh, you don't get many shots at this. Johnny Mize had the most shots at hitting 4 in a game. 6 times he had 3 in a game. Never did hit 4, so you better take advantage of it. Swings and misses at a fastball out of the strike zone. And all these fans that are Elmore Leonard Novel. Ripped to right, he didn't get it up. He just didn't get it up. Darryl Strawberry 4 for 4 on the afternoon. base 5 times, 4 runs scored, 5 RBIs, and 3 home runs. Man.
He got a good pitch to hit here. Sinking fastball, and he gets a lot of wood on it, but he couldn't get it in the air as the ball sunk down to the bottom part of the bat. So Darrell a chance to...
Check swing, McDowell over to Hernandez, and the Mets are technically in first place. For the Cubs in the 9th, no runs, 1 hit, and 1 left. Line score on the ball game, 7-13 and none for the Mets. 2-8 and 0 for the Cubs. The Mets technically tied for first place with the St. Louis Cardinals, who play against the Phillies tonight. So Ralph Kiner and I will be back with a wrap-up right after this.
I'm Tom Kirkland, Headline Sports. The latest baseball word is no final word till Tuesday morning. Despite Commissioner Peter Ueberroth's urging the parties to get together Monday night, the Players Union and owners' reps will stay away till hours before the threatened work stoppage. If all matters aren't resolved in that 8:45 a.m. New York City negotiating session, the players are supposed to walk away and not play Tuesday's ball games. Monday's meeting got nowhere in 90 minutes, leaving a distinct air of pessimism. The hope is with a good night's sleep, an accord can be reached in the a.m. Till the final motion to adjourn is heard, the players still going through the baseball motions. In the case of the St. Louis Cardinals, the motions moved them out of first place in the National League East. Home runs in St. Louis and Chicago did it. At Busch Stadium, Philadelphia's Ozzie Virgil blasted a pair of homers, his 12th and 13th of the season, and Philly generally laughed past the Cardinals 9-1. For the first time since June 29th, the Cards decked out of first place because of Darryl Strawberry's batch of home runs in Chicago Monday afternoon. 3 of them, numbers 13, 14, and 15, driving home 5 Mets in their 7-2 rout of the slumping Cubs. And while we can still give you baseball scores, here they are. National League, Montreal beat Pittsburgh 5-2.
Well, I'm ecstatic, basically, simply. We're back playing baseball. I think it was time to give something back to the fans and show them that we're not as greedy as people think we are. It was a good settlement for us. We got a lot of money in our pension plan, but basically just really elated to be back playing.
Well, I'm very happy, as I'm sure everybody else in the union is. I think Don Fear did an outstanding job representing us in the negotiations, and we were forced to do something we didn't want to do, but it was something we felt we had to do to move the negotiations forward. And I'm just glad for us and for the owners and for the fans that it's finally settled.
Personally, I'm very happy that it's over with. I think both sides came out on a good end, and I think everything's okay. You know, I think everybody is set, and we're just ready to play baseball again.
Well, I'm ecstatic. I'm like a little kid in a candy store because, like I said all along, not only am I a player, but a great fan of the game, and I'm just really happy that it's been resolved. It only took a couple of days, and now we're all back to playing ball, and I think all sides are happy, not only us, the owners, but also the fans.
Replay showed he did not step out of the batter's box. Now it's sliced over third. It'll be a base hit and should score a run. Raines throws into second base, and the Mets lead by a score 1-0. Keith Hernandez does it again.
Well, with Hernandez, it doesn't matter whether a left-handed pitcher or right-hander's out there. He hits the same way against both. Goes the other way on the fastball away, and the Mets are on top. First time in, 4 days they've been on top.
And a line drive to left field. Raines back. He can't get to it. It's over his head. Knight on his way to third is being held up at third, and now the throw home way off line. And fortunately for Ray Knight, it was offline, or he would have been trapped between home and third. Aguilera gets down to second on the double, and we'll look at it again.
I think what Hubie Brooks, when he turned around after he received the relay throw from Raines, watch Raines get the ball. And then watch how Hubie throws the ball. He's going to come home, and now he sees Knight caught off, and he tries to hit Wallach at third base, throws it over his head. And now Fitzgerald scrambles back with Hesketh backing up. But, boy, I'll tell you, Aguilera puts a charge in this ball. Raines thought about trying for it, but that ball was just hit too hard. Now watch Hubie Brooks. He wants to go home, but then, whoa, I think I'll go to third. And then it's threw it over the head of Tim Wallach. Up and looked like he mildly sprained that left ankle. Not seriously, however.
Now the batter is Tim Paciorek. Hits it deep off of the fence in left field. Backman coming to third is being held up. The ball gets away momentarily. And going in with a double is Paciorek. Paciorek with his second two-base hit for the New York Mets. This four-game winning streak. He has Wally Backman at third base and Paciorek at second. Curveball hit hard down the line. It's a fair ball. Backman scores from third. Paciorek from second, and Keith Hernandez once again has put the Mets on top. Mets picking up their third two-base hit in this inning.
Man, what a player. Keith Hernandez coming off the strike. I must add, the player representative of the Mets, and I can think of nobody who represents them on or off the field any better than Hernandez.
So the Mets take the lead 4-3. And now the batter will be Gary Carter. And this ball hit deep to left field. It's going, gone, goodbye. Gary Carter with his 14th home run.
Reviews from the stands here. Some boos and some cheers for Gary Carter. The only positive reviews in the dugout now. Hesketh looked like he wanted to take a little off that pitch, but Carter wanted to add a little onto it.
So the high fives being exchanged, and the batter coming up is Darryl Strawberry.
Been some rockets hit so far. I'm telling you.
7 hits, so hits. No one left on base, and the score at the end of 1.5. It is the Mets 6 and the Montreal Expos 3. Now here's a word from Roy.
2 out. Hernandez at third. And well hit into left center field. And I mean a tremendous home run by George Foster. The Mets are running away with it 10-3. Number 16 for Foster. He now has 56 RBIs.
Looks like George and Keith are walking along a country road going fishing or something. His split finger fastball outside. Oh, I mean, he hit this ball a ton. There it goes, disappearing. Man, there have been some shots hit in these first 3.5 innings.
Well, you and Ralph alluded earlier to the fact that a couple of days off will get everybody stronger, and it's sure
back in 1979.
Would you say that makes him a clutch hitter?
Yes.
Goes the other way with it. Tim Raines coming on, won't get there. Hernandez is 4 for 4. Backman held up. The throw went to Wallach, and the throw comes home, and Wally is safe. The relay from Wallach, who was a little bit surprised, short hop Fitzgerald, or rather, Backman scores to make it 11-6, and on the play, Paciorek goes to third.
I guess the most amazing thing about this game so far is that there hasn't been an error. Now, I don't know how they're going to charge this, but I wouldn't give an RBI because Backman had stopped at third base, and now the short hop on Mike Fitzgerald, really, in my opinion, it's a throwing error on Tim Wallach. We'll see how it's going to be scored. Base hit Hernandez is 4th of the game, and we're only in the 5th inning. What's going on? Now the short hop, really an in-between hop for Fitzgerald. Yeah, it is an error on Tim Wallach, and a base hit for Hernandez, no RBI.
And there's another base hit as Carter hits one into left. Pachorik scores the 12th New York run of the night. And Hernandez appears to have hurt himself going down to second base. 4 hits and lead 2. And they lead 13-6 in the middle of the 5th inning. We're back after this for Ivory.
And this one deep to right. It is gone. Goodbye. Darryl Strawberry with his 4th home run in his last 2 ball games. And the Mets lead 14-7.
Boy, it is a beautiful sight to see this young man turn on a pitch. And Gary Lucas can be a tough left-handed pitcher to left-handed hitters. Boy, I'll tell you, talk about right in his wheelhouse. Darryl just jumps all over it. And the right fielder, Andre Dawson, looking more up in awe than anything else. That ball was hit well up there in the blue seats. 16th home run for Darryl. He and Foster still tied for the club lead.
And you just looking at him puts you in a slump.
Off the end of the bat, Leach says, I'll handle this one, and he does. Another 1, 2, 3 inning. I say that facetiously, as there have only been 4 total in the ball game. Terry Leach pitches outstanding relief. Rick Aguilera is the winner, going 5 innings. He is now 5-3. Joe Hesketh, the loser, is 9-5. And the final score in a football appearing scoreboard, 14-7 in favor of New York.
Shoulder closed and head right down on the ball. Hurdle lined hard to left. His only time up. Breaking ball. Fair ball. Hernandez will score. Danny Heap's coming around. He's going to be held at third. Clint Hurdle picks up his 7th RBI of the year, and the Mets are on top 2-1.
Well, Clint Hurdle joins the crowd as he comes up with a big 2-base hit to drive in a run. This ball fair by about an inch. Oh. Right there. First base umpire Dutch Reynard indicating it was fair. Hernandez comes in to score easily. And at the last minute, he held up at third base by Buddy Harrelson. So Hurdle with an extra base hit for Hurdle. That is he's batting .403. Ground ball in the hole and a base hit. Backman will come in to score. The throw by Moreland is way late. Hernandez trying to go to second base, and he is thrown out. So a base running mistake by Keith Hernandez, but he did drive in the tying run. It's now a 4-4 ball game.
There's the way it stands going into play tonight. The Mets on top, 21 over 500 and a half game ahead of the Cardinals.
2 for 3. Ground ball, base hit left field. The Mets lead 5-4.
And Roger McDowell started it with a 2-out base hit. Since then, single by Dykstra and a single by Backman. 3 straight hits off Brewstar, and it is 5-4 New York. Wally's 3rd hit of the night, and he drives in his 24th run of the year.
And the batter, Keith Hernandez.
Roger McDowell picks up the victory in relief of Ron Darling to move his record to 6-4 on the year. And the New York Mets remain in first place, winning their 5th ball game in a row with a 6-4 win over Chicago. And a big win it is in the first of this 3-game series. The Cubs dropped 10 games back. The Cardinals a half a game back, and Montreal 4 behind the first place Mets. Ron Darling started the game and went 6, but left the ball game tied. And Roger McDowell pitches the last 3 to pick up the 6th win of the year against 4 losses.
And the reaction of Davey Johnson and also Jimmy Fry to the left of your screen. Well, I'll tell you, you're seeing two ball clubs going in opposite directions. The Mets winning 5 in a row. The Cubs have lost their 5th in a row.
New York putting it all together with 16 base hits, 36 hits in the last 2 games, and Tim and I will be back to wrap it up for you. Ralph is standing by with another edition of Kiner's Corners. Stay with us. The Mets win it 6-4 over Chicago. We're back.
For a one-hit victory over the Cubs. And for Tudor, his 13th win in his last 14 starts. Now, earlier in that same game, watch as one of the season's memorable moments unfolded. It would be scored a triple play after Terry Pendleton hit a line drive to Bull Durham. In the rundown, the ball hit Van Slyke, but in going to second, Andy passed Jack Clark, who was still at the bag. Van Slyke was automatically out. But in the confusion, Clark thought he was out as well and wandered off the bag. He would be tagged out eventually, and the play was scored a 3-6, 3-6, 5-8 triple play.
New York, as we said, some of you today will see the Cubs and the Mets, and if you remember back to 1969 when the Mets won the pennant down the stretch, that is when the Mets-Cubs rivalry was cemented. The Big Apple against the city of the Big Shoulders. Here's Lynn Berman.
The Cubs and the Mets, a rivalry that has come full cycle.
He's racing to the plate. A good throw might get him. Save!
It was 1969, the month that man first walked on the moon. It was a young Tom Seaver for the Mets going for a perfect game when Jimmy Qualls of the Cubs broke it up in the 9th inning. And that was only the beginning. Since the Mets came into existence, they've played 420 games against Chicago. Not surprisingly, each team has won about half. Some strange occurrences along the way. Remember the black cat at Shea in 1969? It spelled bad luck for Chicago in a crucial September series. It's been 16 years, but Cub fans will tell you to this day that catcher Randy Hundley made the tag on Tommy Agee. It had to be the cat. The Mets had pulled off their 69 miracle at the expense of the Cubs. The team stayed close in the standings after that. Unfortunately for them, it was at the bottom of the National League East as they battled for the basement. But at least they were battling for something. Of course, the Cubs-Mets rivalry hasn't always been on the front burner. But last year, with both teams fighting for a division title, things really heated up. It was exactly 1 year ago, a 4-game series in Chicago. The emotions boiled over. The rivalry was reborn.
It's really turned out to be a really good rivalry, and I think just because really the way the two clubs came up together last year and played as well as they did in the National League East.
The Cubs swept that 4-game August series. They went from 1/2 game in front of New York to 4.5 games. The Mets never recovered, and the Cubs went on to win their first division title. This year, the Mets have the edge, thanks to Dwight Gooden and his 11 straight wins, but the emotions remain strong.
And we have a lot of baseball games left with them throughout the rest of the season, so this is an important series. We see what they've got and see how they're playing, and they see how we're playing.
And how the Mets and Cubs did last weekend as the strike loomed summarizes the '85 rivalry. 3 home runs for Darryl Strawberry on Monday, as the Mets took 3 out of 4. Cubs fans have spent much of '85 thinking about what might have been if Rick Sutcliffe and a host of others hadn't spent so much time on the disabled list. And so time is running out if the Cubs still hope to relive their past glories and stop the Mets from reliving theirs.
Cubs are the champion! The Cubs are the
Now in the set position, here's the pitch. Ground ball hit the shortstop. Harrelson to Weiss, there's one. First base, double play. The Mets win. It's all over.
And so they go at it once again today. Len Berman in New York.
In 69, the year of the impossible dream, and a black cat comes across the path of the Chicago Cubs. The Mets, 9.5 games back, rely on Tom Seaver, who won 25 and his first Cy Young Award. Seaver and the Mets, stunning the baseball world and beating the Cubs. 1985, the heir apparent to the mantle of Tom Seaver. Dwight Gooden has won 11 in a row. Once more, the Chicago Cubs are up against a Mets ace. won 11 straight to eclipse the 10 straight of Tom Seaver back in 1969. So Dwight Gooden going for a little water to load up, and then he will take on the Cubs.
Hernandez, before the game, said he has never seen a stopper like this kid has been. He said Andahar with the Cardinals pitched well, but for all season, he has never seen a pitcher like Gooden. And he's been able to get his curveball over from what Hernandez calls the get-go, and his fastball.
Numbers, you find something interesting. For instance, his earned run average, as great as it is, against the Cubs, it's much better than that. Against the Cubs, it's a little more than a half a run. And another curveball got him looking.
That's the curveball that Hernandez is talking about. It's an overhand curveball. There's really not a whole lot you can do. You can see stride, and you just can't pull the trigger because that fastball that he has, coupled with the curveball, it's just...
With one out in the second inning, 2-0 Chicago. High fly ball into deep right center. Dernier going back, away back. It's gone. Too low five, and see you later, Charlie. 2-2 in the second inning. That Rafael Santana does a dance with it.
Yeah, a home run now is getting to be an event, man. It looks like...
Ground ball wide of first into right field for a base hit. Here comes Peshorek. Moreland's throw to the plate. He scores. Down to third goes Carter. So the Mets have taken a 3-2 lead as Darryl Strawberry singles by Leon Durham.
The next batter, left fielder, George.
Gary Carter allowed to go to third when the throw came to the
New York Mets spent more than 8 seasons with the St. Louis Cardinals, where he helped the Redbirds to a World Series win in 1982. But the next season, Keith came to the Mets in a surprising trade, and a sluggish team found new life as the popular Hernandez hammered out a winning style. And nowhere is style on better display than at first base, where Hernandez has won 7 consecutive Gold Glove awards. Thanks to Keith Hernandez, the New York Mets have found the right balance.
A lot of time to give a lot of signs.
There goes the runner. Hit and run chopper. There's nobody at shortstop. Base hit. And Gardenhire goes to third.
He just gets the bat on the ball. That's all he has to do, and with Boa breaking to cover the bag, because they thought that Gooden would be at least going to the other way with the bunt, they've got a first and third and an inning started.
In the middle of the griddle here with Backman in first and third. And a drag bunt coming to the plate to score is Gardenhire.
Well, just like you can't take for granted the bunt when there are 2 outs, you can't take for granted he will not bunt with a man on first and third. And I believe he's going to have to take a curtain call for the bunt.
And that means he is now hit in 9 straight. There was no squeeze. He was dragging for a hit and executed the play perfectly. 4-2 New York.
And you take
it ball 4 to load the bases for Hernandez.
And that's why I'd make him take to get this
1-0. And a one-hopper into left field for a base hit. Gooden will score. Backman will score. Dykstra to third. Hernandez to second. Bullpen. Jim was saying, Jim Pride, ground ball into left field. In comes Dykstra. Here comes Hernandez. He is out at the plate. Carter to second. It is 7-2 Mets.
Davey
score it like the game, 7-2.
Davey Lopes made a good throw because he gave Davis a good ball to handle. Hernandez really didn't get a
3 times. And Davey has the curveball. Get him again. 8 strikeouts for Dwight Gooden.
Stepping up, second baseman, Ryan.
No doubt about it. Right on the outside corner. Look at old Dutch booming out.
So Dwight has struck out 8. His high 14. Up for him now. 2-1 to Gary Matthews. Curveball. Oh, what a pitch to end the game. 9 strikeouts. Could we see that again, or have we run out of time? Oh, what a way. With the crowd roaring, you'd expect the adrenaline pumping that he would come with the bullet, and instead the big slow jug strike 3 called.
And you can see Gary Matthews just back off the pitch. Watch him bail out, and you can hardly blame him for that. Here it comes in slow motion. Look at him bail out, and goodbye Gary and Cubs.
8-3 Mets. We'll be back with the totals and some added comment after this. The Red Sox visiting Yankee Stadium, or in some areas Kansas City at Toronto, all on NBC Sports. Dwight Gooden and the Mets beat the Cubs 8-3. For Joe Garagiola, this is Vin Scully wishing you a pleasant good afternoon from Shea Stadium in New York.
First baseman and batting .320, I understand.
And a drive to left field. It is high. Is it far enough? Going way back. It is gone off the back wall, and a home run for Gary Carter. Gary Carter tying the Met record for home runs by a catcher with his 15th.
Well, to compare Keith Hernandez's swing with Gary Carter's swing, there's really no comparison. Hernandez actually took a better swing at his pitch than Carter did. But Carter is so strong, he muscled the ball out. He swung at that pitch with his arms. Curtain call for Gary Carter. Now watch that front side. That front side's out of there. The only thing left are his arms with which to hit. He's got some big arms, too, as you see. Man, that's strong.
And Matthews back to look. He almost gets hit as the ball comes off the back wall in back of the home run fence. So the Mets on top 2-0, and the batter is Darryl Strawberry.
Ball well hit again left field. This ball might make it. Second home run of the afternoon for Gary Carter. Mets lead 4-2. What a rocket. Carter with home run number 16. That ties him with Darryl Strawberry.
And here it is, a fastball right down the center of the plate, and Carter gets his second home run. This is only Botello's second start in the National League.
And on ninth inning, 6-2 New York. And he rips one, but Hernandez gets it on one hop to Lynch. The game is over. The Mets have won 7 in a row, and Ed Lynch is now 10-5. Ed's 6th straight victory and 6th complete game of the year. An outstanding performance by Lynch, and the Mets as a ball club are in first place by a full game over the St. Louis Cardinals, who lost today. The loser is Derek Botello, the young starter who is now 0-2. And New York not only has won 7 in a row, but 13 of the last 15 and 28 of their last 35 ball games. Tim and I will be back to wrap it up. Ralph standing by with another edition of Kiner's Corner. Stay with us here at Shea, where the Mets have swept the Cubs and won this final game by a score of 6-2.
Burns now in the second. You get him for that one, and you get him for one more. The Cubs come back to tie it up at 2-2. Now, once again, it's out of the ballpark. This time, a low fastball.
Low fastball, down and in a little bit, Ralph. And I had a really good day in batting practice, and Bill Robinson has really been helping me about trying to get a little bit closer, not get so spread out. And the knee injury, amongst all the other things that have happened, it seems like this year, I'm just trying to find a comfortable position. And today in batting practice, I really felt good swinging the bat, and it sure carried into today's ball game. Oh, yes. It went something like 22 games in almost a month, and I was very, very pumped. Came in and seeing everybody greet me there, I almost took. Look at that. Look at that. I was pretty fired up, no question.
Wow. All right, so that's the story. Gary Carter comes up with that home run. It broke a streak where he had gone 22 games without a home run, and you think Gary Carter is excited about this game of baseball. Well, today an exciting ball game.
Don't show it where I come out and oh, look at that.
All right.
I had the helmet slipped out of my hand. Everybody was all over me because I threw the helmet and almost hit Bill Robinson, our first base coach.
He's the batting instructor. That wouldn't be too good.
No.
Stop them.
Keep going on. They beat the Phillies again, 4-3. 8 straight Mets wins. Sid Fernandez threw 8 innings, struck out 13, only gave up 1 hit. Through the 8 innings he pitched, gave up 2 more in the 9th before leaving. And offensively, Keith Hernandez, 3 RBIs, and all 3 times it was Wally Backman who scored. In the first inning, he scored from first base. 3rd inning, watch Backman breaks his bat and still hits a double to left center. Dykstra scored. Backman accounted for all 4 Mets runs. 8th inning, Fernandez strikes out the side for 13 strikeouts. He then leaves in the 9th inning, so Glenn Wilson greets McDowell with this shot deep to center field. Dykstra goes back, ball hits the top of the fence and over. 3-run homer. Mets hang on and win the ball game 4-3. But the Cards are winning, so the Mets lead will still probably be 1 game. The Yankees going...
The Mets totally drained a crowd of over 31,000 of all of its emotion as they dropped a 2-1 decision to the Phillies. Now, pictures tell you the story of what transpired at Shea Stadium last night. Top of the 7th inning, scoreless game. Phils put runners at first and third. Rick Hughes, little bloop base hit down the right field line. Scored Von Hayes to make it 1-0 Phils. They got another in the top of the 9th to take a 2-0 lead before the Mets made a little noise in the bottom of the 9th. Walk to Howard Johnson and pinch hitter Rusty Staub chased starter Kevin Gross. Gross had walked 7 batters in the game, but the Mets couldn't really get to him when they had to. Pinch hitter Ron Gardenhire steps up, lays down the bunt off of reliever Don Carmen, who makes an adventure by throwing it towards Escondido, California. Winds up in right field. Howard Johnson scores to make it 2-1. Now a walk to Tom Paciorek loaded the bases with no outs. Wally Backman grounded into a forced play at the plate. Keith Hernandez did this. Ooh, the double play the hard way. Ooh, game ender too. Phillies wind up winning it by the final of 2-1. A thrilling 9-game win streak is now history. The Mets will try to start anew this afternoon at Shea Stadium. Dwight Gooden takes the mound against former Met Jerry Koosman.
Hit and run hitter, and also there goes the runner. Big jump, but the ball hit in the air to left field. Way back. Going back is Gross. It's going. It is gone. Goodbye. Tom Paciorek with his first home run as a New York Met.
curveball. Tom Paciorek gets under it and drives it deep to left field over the 371 mark. And the Mets strike early here in the first. A very happy Tom Paciorek in the Mets dugout. 2-0 Mets.
Home runs, 59 RBIs. And this ball hit out to left center field, deep left center field. It is going. It is gone. Goodbye. Gary Carter with a home run. And the Mets lead 3-1.
Again, Gary Carter hitting that fastball down and in over the left center field wall. And Carter hitting his 17th home run of the season, is picking up his 60th RBI. Gary Carter checked at his 17th home run of the season and 60th RBI.
And it ties him with George Foster for the club lead of 17. Has that great move to first base. And Knight hits it out into deep right field. Going after the ball is Glenn Wilson. It's going. It is going. Gone. Goodbye. Ray Knight with an opposite field home run. And the Mets lead by a score of 5-1.
Ray Knight's 5th home run of the year, going the other way. He hit this ball a long way over that right field wall. And Ray Knight picking up his 5th home run and 25th and 26th RBIs of the season.
Now the batter is, they were all home runs. They score 5 runs and they leave none. And here's a comparison of Gooden through 25 games in 1984 against 1985. Man, what a difference. And 1984 was a great year. Wow. These numbers are unbelievable. Innings pitched 197 so far this year, 167 last year at this time. And the Mets have
and he gets the Phillies out without further damage. But the Phils tied with 1 run on no hits this year. Line drive, base hit right field. Bachman's going to go to third. The throw, safe at third. First and third, nobody out.
Well, it's a broken bat, base hit, but they all look the same in the box score. Paciorek jammed with a pitch, hits it over the head of the first baseman. Bachman against the strong, strong arm of the right fielder Wilson, who has 16 assists from the outfield this year, goes over the...
Base hit off the glove of Schmidt, I should say. Oh, boy, what a play by Schmidt to knock that ball down. And he made the catch. It could have been a triple play.
From third, and I think you're right if it had been.
7th, but the Mets take the lead. 1 run, 2 hits, and 2 left. After 7-6, New York. Ball game. The Phillies come back to tie it. They have scored in all but 2 innings, and it's a tie game. And up to right center, and it's well hit, way back, way back. Oh boy, a ground rule double, and what a tough break for the Mets. I'll tell you one thing, that overshifted outfield a bury every time. So much for strategy. Dykstra turning that strategy into paper mache.
good news and bad news story. The good news is the Mets go ahead on the double. The bad news is it bounces over the fence. If it stays in play, the Mets get 2 runs. Dykstra getting a lot of this one. Takes a fastball into right center field. Wilson way overshifted and very shallow. Gets burned by the ball as it hits on the warning track and bounces over the fence.
Popped up. Shallow left field. Von Hayes in. Foley back. Oh, the ball. The ball going overhang front. Strawberry to third. He's safe at third. 2-run score on a misplayed ball by Von Hayes in left field. The Mets lead it 10-7. Man, look at Ray Knight. That explains this game today.
Well, this ball is not lost in the sun. This is not a sun field. He just misplayed the ball totally. Hayes coming in too far. The wind taking the ball back. And now he can't make the catch. He has the glasses down, but that is not a sunball. So Carmen, the victim of the error in left field by Von Hayes, who was in center field earlier in the game.
Well, Ralph, my friend, they have not scored that yet. In the infield, that should do it. Bachman waving everybody off at second. And he squeezes it for the appreciative third out. And emotional Jesse Orozco winning his 4th game of the year, and what a series he had against the Phillies, Ralph.
And Orozco, he's pointing to that ball. Now the catch is made, and Orozco coming up with 2 big contributions in this 4-game series. And the Mets won 3 out of 4, winning here today by a score of 10-7.
So Jesse Orozco picks up his 4th win of the year, 10-10-2, and 7-11-1 for the Phillies. The Mets winning 3 out of 4, and Ralph and I will be right back right after this.
That 1-game winning streak, not bad, or 10 of the last 11 if you wish. 36,000 at Shea today. The Mets win at 10-7. Gooden did not win his 19th, didn't last past 5. Orozco came in, got the win, but the bad news, Carter left the game in the 4th with neck spasms. Gardenhire left in the game in the 2nd, groin pull. Let's go to the videotape. Bottom of the 1st inning, 1-0 Phillies, 1 on. And Kuzman's pitch to Tom Paciorek. Boom! His first home run as a Met to make it 2-1 Mets. 1 out later, Gary Carter facing Kuzman, and boom! 17th home run of the year for Carter to make it 3-1. After a walk to Foster, Kuzman's pitch to Ray Knight, boom, make it 5-1. So Kuzman's best pitch today was the home run pitch. But after blowing the lead, now 7-7, 2 on, 2 out, last of the 8th, and Dykstra, long drive right field, Wilson back over his head, bounces over the wall, ground rule double, Reynolds scores 8-7. Then Strawberry, fly ball short left field. Von Hayes does an impersonation of Gabby Hayes. There it is right there. Loses a ball in the sun. 10-7, the Mets win it. However, in St. Louis, the Cards are ready to take a doubleheader. They won the first one 3-1. They're winning the second one 3-1 in the 8th. Let's go to the game. The Mets and Cardinals will have exactly the same record with 50 games to go.
Score in the 7th. There go the runners. Ground ball up the middle. Bachman, good play. Got him. So once again, Ron Darling flirts with danger, but he comes out on top. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. The Expos have stranded 7 through 7, and we got ourselves a scoreless ball game. Up to your screen, there's Chairman of the Board Charles Bronfman with Ubi, the mascot. Ball hit well to right center. In the gap. Heap will have at least 2. He pulls in the second stand-up double, leading off here the 8th inning. So the first pinch hit of the year for Danny Heap is a big one.
Here it is again. It's up the gap, getting by Whittingham, the center fielder, and Dawson, the right fielder.
Played perfectly off of the wall, but no chance at all to get Heap. And the Mets have their leadoff batter on base in the 8th inning.
And Len Dykstra's going to... Good job by Len Dykstra. Fly ball, center field. It might be over the head of Winningham. Yes, sir. Backman may try to go to third, but nope, he stops at second. Mets lead 1-0.
Well, Wally Backman has done it again. He has batted .400 in his last 17 ball games, and right here, driving in the first run of the game as Heap scores from third, and he gets an extra base hit. This ball, I believe, hit in the glove of Winningham. Let's take a look at it. He goes back on this ball. He does make a gallant try, but now Heap can trot in from third base, and the Mets are leading 1-0 with Backman. Still only one out.
Tim Burke, but the Mets on the board. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 2. Ball lifted to right field. Andre Dawson coming on hard. He dropped the ball. Foster will go to third. And here comes Foster. He's coming home. The throw. Safe. Out and home. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I can't believe it. With nobody out, Foster is waved home, and he was out at home. My goodness.
Well, we look at it again. Dawson coming a long way for this high pop-up. He reaches for it and doesn't get it. It hits in fair territory, and it goes down into the right field corner. Foster going to third base. Nobody out. Harrelson waves him in. I believe he's safe on the call, but he is called out. So the second time the Mets have had a runner thrown out at home with less than 2 out. Dawson chasing it down in that corner, and he fires it on in, and the relay from the first baseman Francona, and Foster unable to come in and score.
You know, you really can't fault.
Carter trying to get him to shake off.
Sinker got him. Mets win it 1-0. What a ball game. Oh, man, this will bring them back. I'll tell you that. Even though the home team didn't win, the Mets scoring the lonely run of this ball game in the 8th inning on a double by Wally Backman. Another big hit, pinch hit double by Danny Heap, his first pinch hit of the year. The winning pitcher, Ron Darling, who is now 11-5. Roger McDowell, his 10th save of the year. And the loser for the Expos, very unusual, as Tim Burke picks up his first loss of the season against 8 wins. The line score in the game 1-5-0 for New York, 0-4 and spend the birthday. Up till 45 minutes before game time, right-hander Ron Darling was in the trainer's room, suffering with an abscessed tooth. Ouch. But professionals have to play with pain, and the best way to forget your own problems is to create a few problems for your opposition. For 7 gritty innings on his 25th birthday, Ron Darling held the Expos offense hostage. Well, he had to, because the Mets couldn't break free from Montreal's goose eggs until the top of the 8th. With 1 out and Danny Heap on third, Wally Backman rips into a 1-2 slider from reliever Tim Burke, and that was the game's only run. It was Burke's first loss after 8 straight wins. Backman gets the game winner with a stand-up double. Roger McDowell came on to protect Darling's 11th win while picking up his 11th save. And tonight, more of the same as Dr. K goes against the Giants right here on Channel 9.
A little while ago, it looked as if Larry Boa's illustrious Major League career might be over, but the Mets have picked him up for some insurance at shortstop down the stretch drive, they hope. And as far as Larry is concerned, he couldn't be happier.
Yeah, this is great. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You know, I was very fortunate playing 1980 for the Phillies in a World Series, and I think this team is capable of getting to a World Series.
Average of 1.82, the National League leader in that department. He has walked only 51, struck out 192, given up only 147 hits. Works to Bob Brenly. And he goes to the curveball, and that's strikeout number 2. Both of his strikeouts have been on curveballs in the dirt.
And it's so important to establish this pitch early. And if Carter has helped Gooden with one thing, the same way with Darling.
Bob Force. That was against the Cardinals. And strike three. So Gooden gets his third strikeout. He now has 195 for the year. And the score after one.
And Dykstra plated Strawberry and Johnson in the second. Got him with a fastball. Gooden has now struck out 5 of his last 6 batters, all swinging.
Oh, we look at it again. This is a borderline pitch. Did he get the outside corner? Pretty close. And he just threw it right on by him. Gooden now with a total of 197, 214.
The curveball punches out Youngblood on 3 pitches. Joel is out of there, and Gooden has struck out 7. Youngblood with some words for home plate umpire Bob Engel. But that looked like a pretty good pitch.
Well, we'll look at it again. It's a tremendous curveball, and I'd say it was in the strike zone. He now has a total of 199. He is
standing as Gooden has a count of no balls and 2 strikes and is threatening to strike out the side and does.
.200 strikeouts for Dwight Gooden.
And the 27th time in his young career that he has struck out the side in a ball game. He now has 8 tonight. And as you said, Ralph, 200 even on the season. 2-0 New York in the middle of the 4th. And now here's a word from the good old Skies. Dwight Gooden now with 9 Ks on the evening has struck out the last 4 in a row.
Oh, Dwight has had that great curveball here tonight. And when it rolls off that table like that, Katie bar the door.
Lord Charles falling off his throne. I'm telling you, he has faced. Ten Ks for the doctor. The 23rd time he has struck out 10 or more in a game, and he has struck out those 10 batters among the last 13 he has faced.
And again, he goes to that curveball. It's out of the strike zone, but the batter doesn't know it when it starts. That is the...
Gladden running again, and it's strike 3. Dwight Gooden strikes out the side for the 2nd consecutive inning. He has struck out 11 through the first 5 innings of play. New York 2, San Francisco nothing. Here's a word from the
World Series. And a drive to left, a base hit. Backman comes in to score easily. Carter with an RBI. The Mets lead 3-0.
Wally Backman scores his 39th run in his last 40 ball games, and Carter now has driven in 62 on the year. Gary's doing it all with the upper body, too, because as you said earlier, Ralph, it's tough to get those legs involved and generate a lot of power, but he is just so strong.
Got him with a fastball. Strikeout number 12.
Well, now only Chili Davis in the San Francisco lineup has not been struck out by Gooden, and it was against the Giants, remember, that he set his high for this year at 14. That was the pitcher this year.
Breaking ball got him. Strikeout number 14 for Dwight Gooden.
That ties his high for the year, and they have both been against the San Francisco Giants. And Dwight Gooden, just one reason why the New York Mets have gone over the 2 million mark in attendance tonight. The crowd tonight, the paid total, bringing the total to 2,013,250. And here is number 14. Again, the big curveball breaking down. As the game goes along on most occasions.
Check swing. Hernandez will make the play. And the crowd is booing. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left after 6 1/2. It's 3-0 New York. We'll be back.
Black cat on the field here, and this one is gray with white trim.
I was back in the Cubs series back in 1969, so with the gray cat out there, I suppose. But to no avail. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left. And after 7.5, it's all good and in the Mets.
Did he get him? Yes, says first base umpire Dave Pallone. Strikeout number 15 for the Doctor. It is a new high this season for Gooden.
And he's 1 shy of his high set on September 12th of 1984 when he struck out 16. And then his next outing against the Phillies, he struck out 16. A new major league high for the year.
Dwight Gooden has struck out 16 to tie his career high. He has won his 13th game in a row. It is his 13th complete game and 6th shutout of the year. His record is now 19-3. He has an opportunity to become the youngest player to win 20 games in one season. That, of course, he'll have an opportunity to do that in his next start. But what a performance by the Doctor as he and Darryl Strawberry celebrate, scattering 7 hits and striking out 16 while walking only 3. The Doctor was in tonight.
I'll tell you, if I'm Davy Johnson, I don't want Dwight Gooden shaking elbows with anybody, especially when they're right elbows.
Limit that to left elbows only. To modify that. Tim and I'll be back to wrap it up for you.
By Terry Leach, a last-minute replacement for Sid Fernandez, who is suffering from dizzy spells. Leach told only 15 minutes before the start of the game that he's the guy, and he went out, pitched a 3-hit shutout. Leach going all the way as the Mets blanked the Giants 7-0. Terry Leach in only his 4th Major League start. Now, out at Shea right now, they're underway in a twilight doubleheader with San Diego, and now they're doing it without manager Davy Johnson. He was ejected in the first inning. So Davy getting the thumb at the start. And then in the Met second, this is George Foster, broken bat, bloop single. Darryl Strawberry will score. He had stolen 2nd and 3rd, and Mets in front 1-0 in the 4th inning. At the moment, the Mets still a half game in front of St. Louis. Cardinals pulling one out last night in Houston, scoring 2 in the 9th to beat the Astros 2-1.
Padres doubleheader is now history, with the Padres coming out on top by the final of 6-1. Bottom of the 2nd inning, George Foster's little bloop single delivered Darryl Strawberry. That made it 1-0 Mets. It stayed that way until the Padres struck for 5 straight singles after 2 were out in the 6th. Tim Flannery delivered a run with this base hit to tie the game. The pitcher, Mark Thurman. Good hitting, Mark. Why not? That delivered another run. 2 more come across on a single by Gary Templeton. 4-run explosion, 6-1 in the 9th. Get this. Rafael Santana picked off of 3rd with the bases loaded to end the game. Whew. What a way to go down. Final 6-1. Now, Carl King is behind the St. Louis Cardinals in the NL East following a 2-1 loss to the Los Angeles Dodgers at Shea Stadium. This one should have been called the Mariano Duncan Show. Duncan led off the 1st inning with a triple. Wound up scoring a little later to make it 1-0 Dodgers. Top of the 3rd, he walked. Later stole 3rd, scored on this scorching ground ball by R.J. Reynolds off the glove of Ray Knight to make it 2-0 Dodgers. Bottom of the 6th, watch this play. Runners at 2nd and 3rd for the Mets. Mariano Duncan robbed Keith Hernandez of an infield hit with a beautiful play. Mets didn't get a run there. Turned out to be big because Darryl Strawberry dialed 8 in the bottom of the 9th inning, but his solo homer was not enough. The Mets go down by the final of 2-1. The Yankees...
One away. Now, Darryl holds on as Davy Johnson holds his breath. That's a similar play that Strawberry hurt that thumb, and he comes down on it again. I tell you, when you sprain that ligament or crush that ligament, whatever happened to his thumb, it was a damaged ligament. It is not the same. And with an average like that, you might think, why doesn't he do it more often?
Wally worked on this so much in spring training at the urging at the time of third base coach Bobby Valentine. Wally really, especially from the left side, able to use his speed to such a great degree. And you can see that Dreesen, even if he had come up with the ball, had very little chance of making a tag on Wally.
Andreessen really initially played. There goes the runner, swing and a miss. The throw, safe. Backman to third. Uribe can't retrieve it in time. He's at third with one out, and it's 1-1 to Hernandez.
Well, it's going to be a stolen base for Wally, his 22nd of the year, and an error on Bob Brenly. Pitched down and in and missed by Keith, but the throw well toward the first base side, and it went right up Uribe's arm on the short hop. And Backman able to go to third easily without a play. Wally had a good jump, and as you see, even a good throw would have been a
fastball, base hit, right field. Mets lead 1-0.
The RBIs have been sparse lately for Hernandez, and he drills this one by Dreesen. I doubt that even if Dan had been playing back in his normal position, he could have come up with the ball and had any kind of a play. It would have taken a Hernandez-type play to make the play, and Keith was busy hitting that ball. The ninth still tied 1-1 after this for Manufacturers Hanover. Opportune times. This ball is playable to left field for Dan Gladden, who run. Oh, he dropped the ball. And Heap's going to be at second base. Gladden got there, but did not make the play as the wind was blowing that ball toward the left field line.
Well, everything is an adventure in this ballpark. Gladden got over there. The wind holding the ball up. He comes in. He has a relatively easy chance, and he hasn't got it. So on the two-base error, the Mets have a chance to go ahead here with a runner in scoring position.
Second error of the night. They have one time. And he drives one into the gap in right center field. The Mets will take the lead. Danny Heap with a double to drive in the go-ahead run, and it's 2-1 New York. The big error that would have ended the inning by Dan Gladden in left field left the door open, and Howard Johnson stuck his foot right in there with a double.
Well, Johnson takes his low fastball and drills it into right center. In yesterday's ball game, he tripled with the Mets batting in the ninth inning with 1 man out and scored the tying run, a game that they eventually lost. Now he's put the Mets on top.
Clint Hurdle. Bases loaded, 2 out. Fastball, fly ball, center field. Dykstra there, and the Mets win it. Ron Darling hangs on by the skin of his teeth with the bases loaded and 2 out in the ninth inning to pick up his 13th win of the year. He's now 13-5. It's also his 4th complete game. And it stops the Mets losing streak at 3 games. They pick up 1 full game on the St. Louis Cardinals, who were beaten by Houston tonight to trail the Cardinals by 2 in the National League East. Mike Krukow, who pitched a whale of a game and went the distance, suffers his 10th loss. He is now 8-10 on the year. Ralph and I will be back to wrap it up. Tim will have an interview, so stay with us here from Candlestick Park, where the Mets have defeated the Giants 2-1. Now here's a word from Nissan. Second home run in as many days. Ties the ball game at 1-1 here in the top of the 4th inning. For Carter, his 20th homer of the year.
And Gary just overpowered that changeup high and away and got it in, or got it into that wind in right field, and that ball just took off in a jet stream. Changeup up and away. Now watch this ball. Youngblood goes back, and he realizes, playing in this park for his 3rd season, that that ball is history. Awfully strong. Gary Carter with those big arms just overpowers that ball the other way. Tie ball game.
14th home run yielded by
right.
Threw him out.
Exactly right. The pitchers can take things for granted just like regular players, and Ed Lynch was not running. And he is thrown out from right field by Youngblood, who's playing shallow. He throws a bullet to first base, and they got him by half a stride. Well, you just don't take anything for granted in this game. And it's often the case that pitchers do not run when they hit the ball, and they try to preserve their energy. But when you...
Sinker grounded to short. Santana to Backman. And on to first, and Pachorik stays on the bag to complete the double play. So a 6-4-3 gets Doug Sisk and the Mets out of it as we end the 8th inning here at Candlestick. But the Giants still lead it 3-1 over the New York Mets. And we're back after this for the good old Sky. And it'll be a base hit into left field for Howard Johnson, and it gets by Renicky. Hojo going to second. Ball taking a very funny hop as it hit in the grass.
This ball really takes a bad hop on Renicky, and it scoots on by. And it will put a runner at second. Takes the possibility of the double play off.
And a drive into right center field. It's going to be in there and score 1 run. It's all the way to the wall. Rusty chugging for second as a throw comes in from Youngblood, and Staub has a double. Johnson scores, and it's 3-2. San Francisco still nobody out, and Larry Boa will come out to pinch run for Rusty Staub, who is now 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs in his last 6 at-bats.
Rusty 4 for 5 with 2 runs batted in and a walk in his last 6 pinch hitting appearances. That is his 9th pinch hit this year, 98 in his career. And it puts him just 5 behind Mike Lum, who is 9th on that list, just ahead of him. So Rusty Staub coming through with a clutch pinch.
But you got to believe that Doug will not hit. A little blooper that could drop in down the left field line. Uribe can't get it. It's a base hit. Boa had to hold up, and now he's going to be held off third and out.
Oh, my gosh.
A horrible base running mistake by Larry Boa, who had to hold up and then rounded third and got caught off.
You're going to have to blame Bud Harrelson for some of that. Bud had him waved around and did not hold him up. Boa had to stop too late, and he was too far from the bag, and they got Boa. Unfortunately for Boa, the throw came into third. Normally, it would go home. Ball picked up by Uribe, and he sees Boa routing the bag and throws into third. But Harrelson, as you saw right there in your picture, did not stop Boa with no one out. He had to play it safe.
Well hit down and deep to right field, and it's out of here, and the Mets lead 4-3. Keith Hernandez, who has been in a slump, the #1 RBI man for the New York Mets, comes through in a pinch hitting role with his 9th home run and now 73 RBIs on the year. And he does it off one of the toughest left-handed relief pitchers in the National League in Mark Davis.
Well, Keith Hernandez has tied his own National League record, which he holds with Jack Clark, of game-winning RBIs, his 21st. As we look at it again, if it holds up, he will have tied the National League record of 21 game-winning RBIs. So we'll have to wait and see a half inning as Hernandez, with a dramatic pinch hit home run, puts the Mets up by a score of 4-3.
And now Wally Backman, the hitter, fouls one off.
Situation or any way of life, probably. And I think that we're making out great with our image that she refers to. I'd like to just make
in 907,157, their second best at this point ever. Hernandez running with a pitch, and this one a fair ball, drilled on the other side this time. Hernandez comes in to score. Carter is being held up at third base, and the throw into second, and Strawberry is out. Kind of a mix-up on the base paths right there, but the Mets do pick up 1 run.
Third RBI for Darryl Strawberry, and that gives him 60 on the year, and he missed 7 weeks of the season. Ball just fair. Now watch the carom. Tony Gwynn is such a good hitter that few people give him credit for being a good outfielder. Good play right here.
Now the throw in gets Strawberry, and Carter held up at third base on that play. That was very unusual. The third, and the score at the end of 1.5 innings, the Mets 6 and the Padres 1. Now here's a word from the good old guys.
nailed it.
And both of them have been fastballs. This one a little lower. The first time he struck out, he went after a fastball at the letters.
Not running. Ground ball is short. Could be 2. 6-4. An easy double play for Fernandez. Nicely turned on the pivot by Backman. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left after 3. 6-1, New York. Now here's a
could be 2. Backman to Santana double play. The Mets' second of the night.
See, that's what you want guys to do. You're not concerned about as much with guys putting a good part of the bat on the ball. But with a 5-run lead, you got to realize more than normal, or than you normally would, that you have 7 guys behind you and 1 in front of you. So let them hit it.
Nice play by Backman.
Little stools about how to get on top of the fastball.
Hilarious. And Royster goes down on strikes. Not too funny for Jerry, but quite a laughing matter for the Mets. Because after 5, it's 6-1, New York. Now here's a word from the Bell Atlantic Yellow Pages.
California over Rosie for the Mets. 6-1 playing the 6th inning in favor of the Mets. First inning, again, that big first inning, Hernandez singles to set up this run on a ground ball by Carter. Nettles made a great play on it, but couldn't get anybody out. Then Strawberry slices one to the opposite field. This goes under the bench and behind the piano, and it turns out to be a triple to make it 4-0 Mets. Second inning, they continue hitting. Hernandez, who snapped out of it last night with that clutch home run, gets another hit. He already has 3 hits in this game, and that scores another run, and the Mets get number 5. Strawberry up again, this time instead of lining it to left field. What was that? And hits one to right field down the first base line for a single, scoring Hernandez. He tries for second base, but Tony Gwynn, fine defensive player, throws him out at second. 6-1 playing the 6th inning. There's better news. In St. Louis, the Cardinals lost 4-1. So if the Mets win, they are only a game out. Los Angeles over Montreal.
Tony Gwynn, a ground ball, and what a play by Fernandez. Boy, if that ball's through, it's a base hit, and then Sid almost waited too long to throw it to first.
Gwynn hustling all the way and running from the left side almost beats us out. Sid's checking it out. Yeah, all the seams are in place, so I'll throw it over there. And look how close it is. Just a step.
Well, you like to see Tony Gwynn running everything out like that. Mets lead 6-1.
And another base hit for Keith Hernandez. 4 line drives here tonight. So that home run in San Francisco as a pinch hitter put him back on the track.
Attention.
And George loops it into right center field, a base hit. Hernandez comes in to score. Throw comes in to second base, and Keith plating to give the Mets a 7-1 lead. And on the play, Foster puts Carter over at third base. No way in the world you can catch up unless you win. There's a high fly ball to deep left field. It could be gone. Back there is Martinez, and it is gone. Goodbye. 3-run home run by Ray Knight, and the Mets lead by a score of 10-1.
Well, Ray Knight has now driven in 4 runs tonight with this 3-run shot, his 6th of the year. I mean, he rudely greeted the young Mr. Patterson with a high, deep drive just inside the foul pole, or fair pole, as some would like to call it, as you see, just a few feet inside.
And now Santana, the only man not to have a hit beside the pitcher in this ball game for the Mets, grounds out on the next pitch, and that'll do it. But the Mets pick up 4 runs on 4 hits. They leave none in the score. At the end of 6.5 innings, the Mets 10. Basketball player, and one haven't basketball players been good defensive players. And it's drilled to right, going, gone, goodbye. A 5-for-5 night. supposed to have fireworks tonight, but they've had them in this ball game.
The fireworks are going to be anticlimactic because they've already come off of New York bats, most of them off of the bat of Keith Hernandez. If you look in the dictionary and look up the term line drive home run, there should be a picture of this shot right here. I mean, that ball got out of here in a hurry, and you talk about a guy being locked in. We have to keep going back to that ninth inning pinch hit home run yesterday in San Francisco.
That shows you how. 4 against the Mets.
And it's a fly ball into, no, it isn't even going to get out of the infield. Again, he pops up tonight, and the game is over. Sid Fernandez picks up his first complete game victory in the major leagues. Only his second career complete game and only his 6th victory of the year against 8 losses, even though he came into the game with a fine 2.75 ERA. And after not getting runs for Sid throughout his young career with the Mets scored 12 for him tonight as he goes the distance for the victory. The losing pitcher is...
One other player in the National League has hit 3 home runs in a game this year, and last night the man who did it before, Darryl Strawberry, had the best seat in the house, the on-deck circle, as Gary Carter explodes in 3 consecutive at-bats for home runs, leading the Mets over the Padres 8-3. Now, just about an hour's drive from his hometown, Carter makes his friends who grew up to be Padres fans want to disown him. Without a kiss goodbye, in the Mets first, it's Carter kissing his 21st homer of the year around the left field foul pole. With Keith Hernandez on board, New York leads it 2-0. Lefty Dave Trevecki gets another shot at Carter in the 4th, but Gary gets another shot too. Up and over the wall. Watch the great grab in the stands. Sorry, David. You threw the pitch. I didn't. Now we interrupt this Gary Carter highlight film to bring you Darryl Strawberry's 22nd homer. Center fielder Kevin McReynolds just runs out of real estate. It's 4-0. The Mets in front. Now back to Gary Carter. Dinger number 3 comes off Luis De Leon in the 5th inning. See you later time. A 3-run shot, this time in the 7th. Starter and winner Rick Aguilera gives way to Jesse Orozco to preserve his 7th W of the year. Once again, the Mets win it 8-3. So it's 3 in a row now for the Mets, but they remain a game back of St. Louis in the NL East as the Cards rally to beat Cincinnati 6-4. Well, the Cardinals, last night, Gary Carter hit 2 more home runs. That's 5 dingers in the last 2 nights, giving him a total of 25 now on the season. That helped Ron Darling win his 14th against 5 losses, but the Cards rallied.
Not a good fastball.
Struck him out, and strikeout number 3. A fastball, that's all. 1 hit, 1 left. The score at the end of 2. The Dodgers nothing, the Mets nothing. And the fastball. Base hit to right. So Dwight becomes the only pitcher to have 5 hits off Fernando Valenzuela.
Well, he scalded this ball to right field, and once again the fastball. 6th pitch from Valenzuela this inning, and we have yet to see the scoop ball as Gooden hits a bullet into right field.
To the 3rd base side. Gooden quickly off. The throw to Carter is not a good one, but Carter turns it into an out on a fine play.
That was a curveball right there. And Gooden gloving the ball, but then just kind of flipping the ball to first base. Gary Carter scooping the ball.
Swung on and missed. Strike 3. So Landreau going down swinging for the 2nd time tonight and a 4th strikeout for Dwight Gooden.
And the plays are right here. Landreau gave him a battle, but that little extra rider. When they swing through those pitches, usually it's below the fastball. On top of the curve, below the fastball.
Having a fine season with the Dodgers, and there it is, swinging over that curveball, strike 3. 2 outs and Gooden's 5th strikeout of the ball game.
Almost like an over and under right here. There's the good curveball. Now he'll swing over it. You saw Landreau swinging under the fastball. Boy, Gooden has great stuff tonight. By the way, Fran, American League.
He came into tonight's action with 219. Swung and missed. Dwight Gooden just struck out the side. Here in the 4th. 3 up, 3 down. And at the end of 4, on the scoreboard, no score, the Mets and the Dodgers.
He's just trying to throw a fastball inside.
Gooden just picked up another base hit.
He's 2 for 2 after going 4 for 4 off of Valenzuela.
Second baseman, Wally Backman.
Matter of fact, the last time he faced Valenzuela, when he got that multiple game hit, it's the first time that a pitcher has ever gotten 3 hits off Valenzuela.
And right now, he's got 2.
So he got a chance to do it again.
Oh, he can hit.
See, you
base in this ball game. You see what happens here. Took off from the first pitch, and he holds his ground there as Associates ground ball to second base. Backman to Santana for 1. The first double play. Scored 4-6-3, a pitcher's delight. And Wally had to wait on the ball. Santana had to wait for the throw. Oh, right there. Greg Brock didn't have to wait for that. That was a heater right by Greg Brock for Dwight Gooden, his 7th strikeout of the game. And for the Dodgers, they go down here in the bottom of the 5th. And after 5 on the scoreboard, no score. Best guy in the mound, you like to win that ball game, especially when he has good stuff. Swung and missed. 2 outs. And for Gooden, his 8th strikeout of the evening.
Shortstop.
Fastball high and away. The toughest pitch for last year, I believe.
Always in the top 10.
Popped up right side. That could be the end of the 7th. Carter. And is. Gary Carter makes the catch. And boy, you talk about reaching back on that 2-0 and 2-1 fastball. Man, no runs, a hit, and 1 left. After 7, no score. So Tommy Lasorda's decision not to bunt with Brock pays off. Nobody out. And the bunt is a beauty. Gooden to Ray Knight, and what a play by Knight.
One of the things that Gooden does so well, he gets off of the mound. Here he gets off the mound, he gets over, and he's so close to Knight, he doesn't want to throw it hard. He almost throws it away, and Knight comes up with a grab and stays on the bag. Gooden doesn't know how to throw it soft.
Good point.
Good play by Knight as they pick up the force play at second. Now we're going.
Squared around, now he goes for it. The throw to second is in time for the force play. So Valenzuela tried to hang the bait out there. He can bunt it past him. We'll see if he tries it. Line drive to right field. Paciorek. What a play by Tom Paciorek. The Mets are out of the inning on a brilliant catch by Tom Paciorek.
Talk about a game-saving play. Well, not necessarily a game-saving play, but it certainly kept 1 run from scoring, maybe 2. It's hit hard. Paciorek back, goes as far as he can go and as high as he can go, makes a brilliant catch, and the Mets get out of it as Paciorek, against his former teammates, makes a fantastic catch.
I guess you could say he is biting the hand that once fed him. After 8, no score. Brother. They did Ralph 2-0.
Pull the ball here, most likely.
But he hits it back to Gooden, and what a play by Dwight Gooden. Man, are you kidding me?
Look at the reaction.
On?
This is unbelievable. Not only is it hit hard, it's hit off to the other side. He has to reach back, backhands it. Look at the body position he's got right there, and he keeps his balance.
Mike Marshall.
Man alive. On bases, he's been caught 6 times. And there he goes. Swing and a miss. The throw. Out at second base. Double play. 10th strikeout of the ball game for Dwight Gooden.
And for a 20-year-old kid, this is a 3-2 curveball. No, it isn't. It's a fastball, and it looked like it was down and out. It just took off and sailed, and now the tag is made. Davy Johnson looking on. That's it, he says. Now let's go get him. Look at Hernandez on the right.
Well, we got OT
here at Dodger Stadium. What a remarkable ball game this is. No score, going to the
Ground ball to shortstop. Could be two. There's one and the other, and the Mets get out of it as Whitfield grounds into the double play. The third double play pulled off by the Mets. And it ends the inning. No runs, one hit. One man left on base. And the score at the end of 10, the Mets...
And it's one left, and we go to the 12th of a scoreless ball game.
Foster puts it away, and the Mets get out of it one more time. 3 innings in a row, and they have been able to hold the Dodgers scoreless. The score, after 2 hits and 2 men left on base, the Dodgers nothing. 22 innings, I believe it was. Swoboda went 0 for 10.
Hey, and there's a shot in the left center field. Guerrero cuts the ball off. Hernandez heading to third. He saves Beckman into second base. And the Mets now have runners on second and third with only 1 out.
Well, Beckman finally gets a chance to bat from the left-hand side of the plate. He was 0 for 5 against Valenzuela from the right-hand side. And he rips one in the left center field. Guerrero over to cut it off. Good base running by Keith Hernandez as he takes the extra base. That draws the throw in the third base and allows Beckman to go to second. Guerrero no chance at all to get Hernandez, but making the ball in L.A. He's hit the Dodgers at Shea, but never here in L.A.
Family and friends.
And he goes the other way. This ball's going to drop. 4 ball. And a ground rule double. The Mets score 2 runs, and it's 2-0. A big double off the bat of Darryl Strawberry here in the 13th inning. On that double, Keith Hernandez and Wally Beckman scoring.
Boy, it's fair by only an inch or 2. Let's take a look.
Catcher, Joey Carter.
Well, we'll give you 4 to 5 inches on it. It bounces in the stands for a grounds rule double. Hernandez scores, and Beckman scores. And the Mets finally get on the scoreboard the first 2 runs of the ball game.
There's Dwight Gooden in the Met dugout. Pitched a brilliant 9 innings, and he's a cheerleader. And the red-hot Gary Carter being passed intentionally right now as you look at, as we go. Russell on third, Mike Marshall on second, Pedro Guerrero on first. As we mentioned, Bill Mapley 11-1 for the Mets, 0-10 and 0 for the Dodgers. Menlo pops the ball up. Ball game should be over. Keith Hernandez, it's all over. Outstanding ball game here in L.A. A big win for the Mets. They beat the Dodgers 2-0. And a picture's worth 1,000 words.
Came into the ball game after arriving at the ballpark at 8:30, and there you see the reaction of Dave Johnson. He says that's it. And here is Tom Lasorda. He doesn't even watch it come down.
Sports Sox Day is tomorrow afternoon.
So the Mets keep pace with the Cardinals as they won 2-0. They're still 1.5 games back. An outstanding job in the ball game by the Met pitchers, and of course also by the Dodger pitchers.
And a line